Chapter 761. The latest chapter of this book isn't finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with connotations that can't be found online are all available here. Gu Jiao and Second Master Jing came back after picking the fruits. Second Master Jing lifted the curtain and walked in, but he retreated after one step. What a strong murderous aura. He hugged the fruits and said solemnly beside Gu Jiao. Whose murderous aura? Gu Jiao asked. My big brother's. Second Master Jing said, I've known my big brother for so many years, but this is the first time I've felt such a strong murderous aura. That's too exaggerated. However, Dukan clearly had something to say to Xiao Heng alone when he sent her and Second Master Jing away. Could it be that Duke had publicly acknowledged that Xiao Heng wasn't Shang Wanqing? Gu Jiao hurriedly got into the carriage. Xiao Heng turned his head to look at her, intending to complain to Gu Jiao with his eyes. What was frustrating was that Duke and's murderous aura disappeared as soon as he put on a "your godfather bullied me" look. Duke and's gentle gaze fell on Xiao Heng's face. If it weren't for the fact that his facial muscles were still stiff, he would have started to smile. The kind that was incomparably benevolent. The disciple of the tea master, the old chancellor, met his match for the first time. Isn't this good? Gu Jiao said. Second Master Jing, who followed Gu Jiao, had a face of disbelief. Good, it seems to be good. Dukan wrote on the armrest. We had a good chat. Xiao Heng, is that so? Why did I feel that you wanted to kill me just now? Dukan continued to write. He's a good young man. I like him very much. Gu Jiao nodded. I like him too. Dukan, you have good taste. Gu Jiao's impression of Duke increased. Xiao Heng was not to be outdone. He hurriedly said, Duke Anghua is knowledgeable in astronomy and geography. You are truly a genius. I will learn more from Duke Anghua in the future. Lulang, when you come to visit Duke in the future, bring me along. Gu Jiao nodded. She was happy to see Duke with her husband. Duke was so angry that he couldn't see clearly. Second Master Jing, who was in a state of shock, asked, Why are you calling him Dukan? Call me uncle. Xiao Heng looked at Dukan and smiled from ear to ear. Uncle. Dukan turned his face away in his heart. Humph. Last night, Gu Jiao promised little Jingkong that she would pick him up from school today. After sitting in Duke An's carriage for a while, she left with Xiao Heng. Eldest brother, let's go back too. Second Master Jing said. Dukan suddenly wrote on the armrest, I want to train. Second Master Jing's eyes widened. He thought he had seen wrongly. Eldest brother, what's wrong with you? The doctor told you to train so many times, but you refused. Why did you change your mind? Dukan, I want to stand up and beat that guy up. Gu Jiao and Xiao Heng sent Black Wind King back to the State Preceptor Hall first. Then, they took the carriage to Lingbo Academy. Xiao Heng said, Dukan knows that I'm not Shang Wanqing. It's okay. He won't say it out loud. Gu Jiao said. When there were no outsiders, Gu Jiao spoke in a female voice. Xiao Heng looked at Gu Jiao in confusion. You trust him that much? Yes. Gu Jiao admitted without hesitation. She trusted Dukan. She had this feeling from the first time she saw him. Otherwise, she wouldn't crawl into a stranger's bed. Xiao Heng opened his mouth and said, He also knows that you're a girl. Gu Jiao touched her chin. He really knows. Xiao Heng was stunned. You know that he knows? Gu Jiao thought for a moment. I just guessed. When I first came to Chengdu, I accidentally entered the Duke's mansion. At that time, Duke was unconscious. I thought he was unconscious, so I used my original voice when I spoke. Later, he was assassinated and injured. When I treated his wounds, I found that he seemed to be conscious. Anyway, he couldn't open his eyes, so I didn't bother to disguise myself as a teenager. He treats you so well because you saved him. Xiao Heng seemed to have found a reason for Duke An's favoritism to Gu Jiao. Gu Jiao shook her head. I don't know. Later, I went to the Duke's mansion openly several times. My voice was different. I thought that he didn't recognize me, but now it seems that he always knew it was me. She didn't know how he recognized her. It was like, as long as you were close to me, I would be happy and know that it was you. The carriage arrived at Lingbo Academy. The two little kids just came out of the prodigy class and stood at the door cutely. Zhang Dequan also came to take the young commandery princess back to the palace. His Majesty had been thinking about her for a whole day. He was very worried that the young commandery princess would be uncomfortable to go back to the academy so soon. His eyes lit up and he walked toward the young commandery princess. Unexpectedly, the young commandery princess and little Jing Kong directly got into the carriage of the state preceptor hall. Hello, teacher. Hello, little nephew. Goodbye, eunuch Zhang. Zhang Dequan was speechless. In the small bamboo house in the purple bamboo forest, the state preceptor and the monarch sat opposite each other and drank tea. The monarch's legs were sore from sitting, so he stood up and walked around the house. The monarch was originally reading the memorials in the imperial study. He came to the state preceptor hall on the spur of the moment. The young commandery princess didn't know that he was here, and Zhang Dequan didn't know either. It didn't matter. The monarch came to the state preceptor's study. Jing Yinin's things in the study had been put away by the state preceptor. There were only some books and paintings left. The state preceptor said lightly, "Not good. He can't speak and can't move his legs. He will be like this for the rest of his life. Your Majesty, you don't have to worry about him." The monarch snorted coldly. "Humph, it's just the Angua family. I don't have to worry about him." The state preceptor didn't say anything else. The room fell into silence. The monarch suddenly laughed. The state preceptor looked at him strangely. The monarch said with relief, "I know how to test the last round. Bring me a pen." The young princess had a pleasant and wonderful night in the Kailan Hall. She didn't remember that she was going back to the palace at all. When the monarch passed by the Kailan Hall, he saw Zhang Dequan standing outside. He frowned. "Why are you here? Didn't I ask you to pick up the young princess?" Zhang Dequan pointed at the entrance of the Kailan Hall. The two little people were squatting on the ground and piling up sand. The monarch was speechless. The monarch grabbed the young princess and put her on the carriage. "Didn't I ask you to stay in the palace? Why are you running around again?" The young princess pointed. I am here to look for Uncle, Your Majesty. If I don't come to catch you, you can play with that boy until dawn. Do you believe it?" The young princess blinked guiltily and leaned toward the monarch. She praised him against her conscience. "Uncle, you are very handsome today." The monarch snorted. The young princess continued to pester him, using her invincible cute killer move. "Uncle, I like you the most." The monarch snorted. The person who liked Uncle the most was suddenly attracted by the bamboo tubes in the monarch's hand. What is this? Even the bamboo tubes are better looking than Uncle." The monarch was speechless. The little girl's eyes were wide open. Her mouth was also wide open. She was almost drooling. She remembered the bamboo tube rice that she had eaten tonight. Her teacher had personally made it with dates and red beans. It was fragrant and sticky. It was delicious and not greasy. The monarch looked at her drooling, and the corner of his mouth twitched. "It's a test, not food." The little girl immediately distanced herself from the test. She straightened her body and said seriously, "I don't want to take the test." The monarch was angry and amused at the same time. "It is not for you. It is for your teacher and the others. 6 people, 6 test questions. Everyone's task was different. Moreover, they didn't know each other. This would lead to differences in information. They wouldn't even know how they lost. This was not a simple 300-mile ride. This was a strategic game. The one who reached the finish line first might not be the one who would advance. The key to victory was the one who grasped all the information first. Unfortunately, no one would think of this. They would only continue to rush and reach the finish line at all costs. The monarch felt that he was a genius. He actually came up with such a tricky test. Teacher's test questions? The young princess rubbed her little fingers together and rolled her eyes. She said in a cute voice, "Uncle, I want to poop." The monarch frowned. Now, they had already left the teacher's hall. "I can't hold it in any more." She held her breath and said with a red face. The monarch said, "Don't be naughty. You are deliberately lying just for fun." The young princess turned into an angry chicken in a second. I didn't do it for fun. Uncle, you wronged me. I am so sad." The monarch was stunned. The little girl looked like she had been wronged. It was as if he had really wronged her. The monarch cleared his throat and said to Jean de Quan, "Let's go back to the teacher's hall first." "Ah, yes." Jean de Quan responded and asked the coachman to drive the carriage back to the state teacher's hall. The young princess raised her chin and said, "I want to poop in the Qilin hall." The monarch said with a dark face, "You still say you don't want to play." The young princess argued, "There is a small toilet in the Qilin hall." The monarch was speechless. "You are really asking for a lot." The monarch stopped the carriage outside the Qilin hall. "I want to poop for a long time. Just tell me if you want to play." "I don't." The monarch said, "Jean de Quan." The young princess said, "I want uncle to go with me." The monarch put a few small bamboo tubes in the secret compartment of the carriage and led the young princess out of the carriage. "I forgot something. I will take it myself." She climbed into the carriage and quietly opened the secret compartment. Then, she hid the small bamboo tubes in her bag. The monarch said, "Why did you bring a bag to the toilet?" The young princess said, "I have something to give to Jing Kong." "You just want to play." The monarch led her into the Qilin hall. "Do you think I can't see through you?" The toilet in the Qilin hall was clean and tidy. It was not an ordinary toilet. The young princess came to the door and reached out a small hand to the monarch, gesturing for him to stop. "Okay, I will go myself. Uncle, wait for me here." The monarch didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The young princess entered the toilet and locked the door. Then she stepped on a small stool and climbed onto the windowsill. She called out softly, "Xiao Jiu, Xiao Jiu." Xiao Jiu flapped her wings and flew over. The young princess poured out the 6 questions on the table. There are so many. Which one is the teacher's? I can't read. I can take them all. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster and more complete. Millions of novels are free to read. All the novels that can't be found online are here. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642_8964286/106591647. HTML Genius memorized this website's address in 1 second. www.zhbqg.com Biku Go mobile reading website. zhbqg.com. Chapter 762. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more interesting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster and more frequently. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels that can't be found on the internet are all available here. The king waited outside for a while and was worried about the little princess. Light Shui. He let out a cry. The little princess stood on the windowsill and looked anxiously at the bamboo tube in Little Nine's mouth. I'm still pooping. Don't come in." The king sighed helplessly and continued to wait in the corridor. He hesitated for a while and was still worried. He went to the door and said, "Don't fall in." The little princess said, "I won't." She didn't really go pooping. How could she fall into the toilet? The king paced outside for a while. "Are you still not coming out? It's almost done." The king was finally impatient. He felt that there was something wrong with the little girl inside. "I'm coming in," the king said. The king pushed the door open. The little girl even locked the door. "Ghost, there must be a ghost." Jean de Quan. The king called in a deep voice. Zhang Dequan understood. He took the hairpin from his hair and used it to pry open the door. He opened the door, and the king walked in with a serious face. "I knew you were up to no good." The king looked seriously at the little girl who was lying on the windowsill. The little girl was pinching a big bird with both hands. Perhaps the king was too loud. Her little body trembled. When she turned around, she couldn't hide her guilty conscience. When he saw that the big bird in her hands was an eagle, the king felt terrible. "Guards." As soon as he gave the order, Zhang Dequan rushed in with the imperial bodyguards. The imperial bodyguards rushed towards the eagle that had attacked the young commandery princess. The little princess was so scared that she let go. Little Nine flapped its wings and flew away. The young princess pursed her lips and cried, "Wah wah! It was not easy for me to catch Xiao Jiao. You scared Xiao Jiao away. I want Xiao Jiao. I want Xiao Jiao." She could still call out the name. The monarch walked over and carried the little fellow into his arms. He checked her up and down to make sure she wasn't injured before asking, "What Little Nine?" "It's that bird just now. It's called Little Nine." "So you're not here to poop. You're here to catch a bird?" The young princess let out 2 dry howls and lowered her head to check her fingers. In the king's eyes, this meant that he had guessed right. The little guy was here to catch birds. The king was furious. "That's an eagle. It can hurt people. Aren't you afraid of being bitten by it?" The Canton princess said in a low voice, "Little Nine doesn't bite. Look at her mouth." Ever since she started school, she had become more eloquent. "Whose bird?" the monarch asked. The young princess pursed her lips and said, "He's from Jingkong. Uncle, why does he have a bird and I don't? I'm so sad." "You'll only be sad if you have a bird. You're a little girl." The king face-bombed. What the hell was going on? The monarch was so angry that he was confused. He took a deep breath and felt that he was going to explode at any time. Go back to the palace. If she didn't go back to the palace, he was afraid that he would spank her little butt. The young princess drooped her little head. Oh. The young princess was taken away by the king. When she returned to the carriage, she suddenly said, "Uncle, I want to hide inside. You can look for me." Children were really fickle. No, the king mercilessly refused. The young princess hugged the king's thigh and acted like a spoiled child. I want. Uncle is looking for light shui. Fine, please, it's useless to beg. I only need a dozen times." The king gritted his teeth. "Uncle is the best. Light shui loves you." The young royal princess quietly climbed into the carriage, closed the curtain, and put the small bamboo tubes back into the hidden compartment. Chilin Hall. Xiao Hung and Gu Jiao went to the purple bamboo forest to chop bamboo. When Little Nine came back with the bamboo tubes, only Shangguan Yen and Little Jing Kong were left in the room. Shangguan Yen knew that the bamboo tubes belonged to the king when she saw them. She couldn't move by herself, so she asked Little Jing Kong to ask what was going on. "It's the teacher's test." The young princess said, "Is the teacher here? Show it to the teacher. Don't let my uncle find out." Gu Jiao was not here, so she couldn't read it. But Little Jing Kong had a good memory and quickly memorized the content of the test. Little Jing Kong was a strict child. Not only did he write down each note from memory, but he also asked you for 6 bamboo tubes to put the notes in. Then, he restored the details to perfection. The difference was that the monarch's bamboo tube was the smallest one, while the one he found for him was the largest one. So, when Gu Jiao and Xiao Hung came back from chopping bamboo, they saw 6 extra large bamboo tubes on the table. It was quite exaggerated. "What's the matter?" Xiao Hung asked. Light Shui said that it was Jiao Jiao's test. Little Jing Kong patted his small chest. "I memorized it. I wrote it down." The two exchanged a look. Test? Was it what they thought? The two took the test to the room next door. Xiao Hung closed the door and sat down at the table with Gu Jiao. 6 bamboo tubes, 6 people who advanced. Open them. He looked at the bamboo tubes on the table and said, "Okay." Gu Jiao picked up a bamboo tube, poured out the note inside and read, "Enter the Songsan mountain range. Raid the enemy's camp near the Biua Spring. Seize the secret letter and send it to the first fire beacon camp. Hand it to the left deputy general of the garrison." It sounds like your final selection mission. Xiao Hong paused. But why are there 6 bamboo tubes? Gu Jiao opened the second tube. You are a Turkic spy. This is the real secret letter from the Turkic army. Quickly take the only secret letter to the first fire beacon camp and hand it to the right deputy general of the rebel army. What do you mean? Gu Jiao asked. Xiao Hong said, the secret letter that was plundered from the enemy's camp was a fake one. If he didn't see this bamboo tube, he probably wouldn't know that he took a fake secret letter. In that case, even if he reached the end, the mission would be a failure. Gu Jiao frowned. What a thief. In that case, this mission of escorting the real secret letter is more advantageous. We don't have to fight the enemy, and we don't have to worry about taking a fake secret letter. Xiao Hong felt that things weren't that simple. Let's take a look at the third one first. Gu Jiao opened the third tube. This time, the situation changed. Enter the Pine Mountain Range and ambush the enemy's camp near Huangshipo. Steal the secret letter and deliver it to the second fire beacon camp. Personally hand it to the left deputy general of the rebel army. Gu Jiao opened the fourth tube. You are a Turkic spy. This is the real secret letter from the Turkic army. Quickly take the only secret letter to the second fire beacon camp and personally hand it to the right deputy general of the rebel army. Oh, is this a dungeon run with an NPC at a different location? What? Xiao Hong didn't understand the last 2 words. Gu Jiao explained, it's just that the location and characters are different. The format of the mission is the same as the first group. One person will go to the enemy's camp to steal the fake one, and the other will escort the real one. Let's take a look at the last 2 too. Xiao Hong said. He guessed that it was a different story. As expected, the last 2 targets were the third fire beacon camp. The ambush location was the Purple Grass Lake in the Pine Mountain Range. Gu Jiao concluded there are a total of 3 groups in this competition. Each group has a cavalry and a spy. But how are we going to determine the winner? For example, Gu Chongqing, 5th Master Han. The 3 of us all picked the spy and safely delivered the secret letter to the rebel army. Then, who among us will be the one to advance? Xiao Hong shook his head thoughtfully. It's impossible for us to complete the mission at the same time. We can only fail at the same time. Gu Jiao was surprised. What do you mean? Xiao Hong opened the note. If you look at the spy carefully, quickly bring the only secret letter. This only one is the key to the entire mission. You clearly have 3 spies. So why do you say there is only 1 letter? Gu Jiao thought for a moment. Because the destinations are different? For example, there is only 1 secret letter to the first fire beacon camp. Then there is no need to emphasize this only one. Xiao Hong boldly analyzed. I think this only one refers to destroying the secret letters of the other 2 spies and turning your secret letter into the only one. As he spoke, he opened another piece of paper that belonged to the cavalryman. And the cavalryman's mission has the word they. Since the secret letter from the enemy camp is fake, they should be referring to the 3 spies. Gu Jiao understood what he meant. So, the cavalry's mission is to snatch the 3 secret letters, and the spy's mission is to destroy the secret letter in the other people's hands. In this way, there will be a fierce battle between the 6 of them. Xiao Hong sighed. 3 to snatch and 3 to destroy. How is it just a fierce battle? It's a battle to the death. Gu Jiao thought of a possibility. She frowned and asked, what if they all fail? For example, the secret letters are all destroyed. Xiao Heng's expression became serious. Then the winner will be the king. The king didn't want anyone to win from the beginning. He first used the power of the 10 aristocratic families to get everyone to agree to the proposal of selecting the commander of the Black Wind Cavalry. Then, he used the rules of the selection to eliminate all the cavalry. In this way, he could say, in a dignified manner, it's not that I don't want to give you a chance. It's that you don't have the ability. Then, I can only temporarily take back the Black Wind Cavalry. Gu Jiao said, just like how he took back the military power of the Mu family. The king of the Yan kingdom's thoughts were deeper than the sea. Xiao Heng said, this time, it's not only a battle with the aristocratic families, but also a battle with the king of the Yan kingdom. Fortunately, we know the exam question and have a big advantage. Gu Jiao said seriously, I won't let him have his way. She would not let the aristocratic families have their way either. She must take back the Black Wind Cavalry of the Xianyuan family. The 3-day deadline arrived as promised. Gu Jiao and the other 5 went to the cavalry camp of the Han family early in the morning. This round, the Ministry of War, Ministry of Rights, Honglu Temple, and Rearguard Commandery worked together to invigilate the exam. The invigilator from the Rearguard Commandery was Wang Su. No one from the Wang family advanced this time, so Wang Su had placed his hopes on Mu Qingchen. However, when he saw Gu Jiao, he suddenly felt that it would not be bad if Gu Jiao advanced. The two did not communicate at all, and pretended not to know each other even if they saw each other. After the group gathered, they went to the entrance of the Mount Song mountain range. The Minister of War announced the rules of this round of the exam. Generally speaking, the sparring was to stop at a certain point and not harm one's life. Those who violated the rules would have their results revoked and would be punished according to the law. Then, they entered the small bamboo hut one by one to draw lots. On the surface, they were drawing lots, but in fact, they were drawing lots for the exam. Wang Su and the minister of Honglu Temple sat in the small bamboo hut. It was a relatively closed space, so no one except the cavalry and the 2 invigilators knew about the task on the paper. Gu Jiao was the last to enter the small bamboo hut. After she came out, the Minister of War sounded the gong. The 5 of them rode into the mountain range and soon separated from each other. Gu Jiao was the only one who walked at a leisurely pace. It looked more like she was riding a donkey than a horse. The invigilators were anxious for her. Why don't you go? Are you reluctant to part with us, or what? It wasn't that Gu Jiao was reluctant to part with them. Gu Jiao waited until the others were far enough away before spurring her horse to chase after Gu Chongqing. Gu Chongqing had been waiting for her for a long time. Seeing her come over, he urged his horse over and said, they've all left. It's very safe here. What did you draw? Gu Jiao asked. Gu Chongqing handed his paper to her. Gu Jiao looked at it and said, oh, you drew the cavalry from the 1st Fire Beacon Battalion. I'm a spy from the 1st Fire Beacon Battalion. Gu Chongqing smiled. It's nice that we're from the same battalion. It was fate that brought him and his sister together. Gu Jiao, oh, as long as you're happy. Gu Chongqing didn't care that he was a cavalry and his sister was a spy. Anyway, he could betray them at any time for his sister. Gu Chongqing said in a good mood, I saw that everyone was going in different directions, so I guess that their destinations might be different. But I didn't expect that even their identities would be different. Gu Jiao told Gu Chongqing the analysis of the 6 bamboo tubes. Gu Chongqing seemed to wake up from a dream. I thought that we could get the secret letter by raiding the enemy's camp. Gu Jiao waved her hand. That's a fake secret letter. It's useless even if we get it. The real secret letter is in the hands of the 3 of us spies. They're still in the dark. Let's rob them. Gu Chongqing looked at his sister dotingly. Okay. Gu Jiao asked, where did the 4 of them go? Gu Chongqing said, Taoist Qingfeng and Mu Qingchen went to the east. 5th Master Han and Jun Xiuhan went to the southeast. Who should we chase first? The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. The novel is more complete and updated faster. Millions of novels are free to read. There are novels with connotations that can't be found on the internet here. https://www.zhbqg.com/8964-2_89642826/1065755762. HTML Genius remembered the website address in 1 second. www.zhbqg Biku Go Mobile Reading Website. MZHHBQG. Com. Chapter 763. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. The novel will be updated faster. Millions of novels can be read for free. There are all kinds of novels that can't be found online. Gu Jiao took out a map. Ever since he learned of the king's intentions, Xiaoheng had specially drawn up a detailed map of the Mount Song mountain range for Gu Jiao. On it were the locations of the 3 enemy camps to be attacked and the various paths to the 3 fire beacon camps. Gu Jiao pointed at the map and said, "Our current position is closer to the southeast. Let's chase after 5th Grandfather Han and Jun Xiuhan first." Gu Chongqing was puzzled. "Tell me, who do you think is the spy?" "The one who goes to the enemy camp must be the cavalry, and the one who goes around is the spy." Gu Jiao pointed at the path marked with cinnabar on the map. "If we don't go to the enemy camp, the spy should be at this position by now. We'll go around from the east and block him." She even planned the path. It seemed that his sister came prepared. The Black Wind Cavalry instinctively followed the Black Wind King. With the Black Wind King leading the way, the Black Wind Cavalry ran very fast. Gu Chongqing even felt that it was faster than his usual speed. However, the plan couldn't keep up with the changes. They didn't catch up with 5th Grandfather Han and Jun Xiuhan. Instead, they ran into Mu Qingchen, who was running from the other direction. Gu Jiao tightened the reins. Gu Chongqing also stopped. The two silently looked at Mu Qingchen not far away. They didn't understand what had happened. "He went east just now," Gu Chongqing murmured. The east was to the 2nd fire beacon camp, and the southeast was to the 3rd fire beacon camp. This wasn't a shortcut. He kept looking back. "It seems that someone is chasing him." Gu Jiao said, "Could it be that he's the spy? Taoist Qing Feng has discovered the real mission, so he's starting to steal his secret letter?" Gu Chongqing said, "I'm going to grab the secret letter. Wait for me here, don't show yourself." "Okay." Gu Jiao nodded and stroked the Black Wind King's mane. The Black Wind King understood and lowered his oar a bit. Hiding behind a towering tree, Gu Chongqing dashed towards Mu Qingchen at top speed. Mu Qingchen was caught off guard. He instinctively drew his sword and slashed. The sword qi he slashed out carried a biting cold wind, sweeping up all the fallen leaves in the forest, forming a huge whirlpool, which swallowed Gu Chongqing from head to toe. Gu Jiao raised an eyebrow. He did not expect Mu Qingchen to have such a trump card. Back then, when he was fighting against the direct descendants of the 5 great clans in the forest, he had held back. When he fought against the Wang family, he did not use his full strength. Gu Chongqing was a veteran of the battlefield, so he naturally would not underestimate his opponent. The moment Mu Qingchen attacked, he had already drawn the sword at his waist and slashed out a terrifying sword qi to meet Mu Qingchen's attack. The whirlpool of fallen leaves was forcefully split open by Gu Chongqing's sword qi. The fallen leaves were like knives, biting back at Mu Qingchen. Mu Qingchen hurriedly drew his sword to block. It was during this gap in defense that Gu Chongqing suddenly stepped on the ground, flew up, and knocked Mu Qingchen off his horse with a palm strike. This was because Mu Qingchen had helped Gu Jiao before, so he did not use his sword to wound him. He only used his left palm to knock him off his horse. Mu Qingchen was about to get up, but Gu Chongqing landed firmly on the ground and pressed his sword against his neck. Mu Qingchen looked at Gu Chongqing strangely. "Han Ziyu, hand over the bamboo tube." Gu Chongqing looked down at him and said. Mu Qingchen frowned coldly. He took out the bamboo tube and threw it to Gu Chongqing. Gu Chongqing caught it with a backhand. Mu Qingchen said coldly, "Is the Han family so unscrupulous in order to achieve their goals?" Gu Chongqing asked back, "Is this the first time you've met the Han family?" Mu Qingchen did not suspect that he had snatched the bamboo tube. After all, this was also a method to make the cavalry fail their mission. Gu Chongqing was worried that Mu Qingchen would give him a fake secret letter, so he opened the bamboo tube to take a look. Fortunately, he had seen it. This was because Mu Qingchen was not a spy at all. He was a cavalry member of the 3rd Fire Beacon Battalion. Gu Changqing was confused. Why did a cavalry member like him come here instead of attacking the enemy camp? Gu Changqing asked calmly, "Didn't you go east? Why did you come here?" Mu Qingchen said unhappily, "That Taoist priest kept following me. I couldn't get rid of him, so I could only take a longer route." Who could understand the fear of being followed by a big shot? Gu Jiao put her hand to her forehead. She had forgotten that the monk had told her that Taoist priest Qing Feng had no sense of direction. Taoist priest Qing Feng followed Mu Qingchen because he did not know the way. As for why he only followed Mu Qingchen among so many people, it was because he had borrowed a compass from the state preceptor the day before yesterday. The compass could give him a general direction. If he went east, Mu Qingchen would also go east. Once Mu Qingchen deviated from the direction, Taoist priest Qing Feng would not follow him. Gu Changqing withdrew his long sword. "I won't hurt you. You're out of the game." It was impossible to return the bamboo tube to him. That would expose the hidden mission. Gu Changqing got back on his horse. He took a long detour before returning to Gu Jiao's place. At this time, Mu Qingchen had already left on his horse. "Are we going to find Taoist priest Qing Feng next?" Gu Changqing asked. Gu Jiao thought for a moment. "Taoist priest Qing Feng is too difficult to deal with. Let's go find 5th Grandfather Han and Jun Xiu Han first and make an ally." "Okay." Gu Changqing agreed without hesitation. He had never thought of himself as the leader of this selection. He respected all of his sister's decisions and was willing to pay any price. The two of them followed the shortcut on the map and arrived at the location of the 2nd Fire Beacon Camp's surprise attack, Huangshupo. At this time, this place had not been conquered by the cavalry yet. The two of them directly showed up and wiped out the enemy camp. These soldiers were all NPCs in the examination room, not the real enemy. Gu Jiao and Gu Changqing were careful. They did not hurt anyone and only tied them up. Then, the two of them began a long wait. "Do you think it will be Jun Xiu Han or 5th Grandfather Han?" Gu Jiao asked. "Who do you think it will be?" Gu Changqing asked. 5th Grandfather Han, Gu Jiao said. "Speak of the devil." The sound of hurried horse hooves could be heard. The person on the horse was really 5th Grandfather Han. Gu Jiao hurriedly hid with Black Wind King. After 5th Grandfather Han rode his horse to the scene, he looked at the messy temporary camp and then looked at Gu Changqing. He frowned and asked, "What happened?" Gu Changqing said, "I was ordered by the Crown Prince to help 5th Grandfather pass. I saw that 5th Grandfather was heading southeast, so I planned to take a shortcut to meet up with 5th Grandfather, who knew that I would hear fighting halfway, so I came to take a look." "What's your mission?" 5th Grandfather Han asked. Gu Changqing threw his bamboo tube to him. 5th Grandfather Han opened Gu Changqing's bamboo tube. The contents were similar to his, but the difference was that Gu Changqing wanted to raid Jade Moon Pool and head to the 1st Fire Beacon Camp. Gu Changqing said, without changing his expression, "I'm guessing that the selection this time was to see who could reach the designated camp first. Priest Qing Feng's horse couldn't beat 5th Grandfather's horse, so he could only snatch 5th Grandfather's letter and prevent 5th Grandfather from completing the mission." 5th Grandfather Han frowned. "You're saying that Priest Qing Feng raided this place?" Gu Changqing lied through his teeth. "Yes, when I came, I saw him leave here with a letter in his hand." "Where did he go?" 5th Grandfather Han asked in a low voice. Gu Changqing pointed to the east. "That way." 5th Grandfather, I'll go with you." Gu Jiao rubbed his chin. So smooth. It wasn't that 5th Grandfather Han was stupid, but that 5th Grandfather Han didn't have God's view and didn't know about the hidden mission. Gu Changqing even gave him his bamboo tube, so what else could he suspect? Purple Grass Pool should be nearby. Why can't I find it? Priest Qing Feng circled the area 5 times with the compass. On the 6th lap, 5th Grandfather Han appeared with a murderous aura. The black demon horse raised its front hooves and bit at Priest Ching Feng's white horse like a ferocious beast. Taoist Ching Feng leaped into the air and protected his horse. He then slapped the black demon horse's head with his palm. How could Fifth Grandfather Han let him do as he wished? Fifth Grandfather Han's palm met the wind from Ching Feng's palm. Powerful internal energy collided. If Fifth Grandfather Han wasn't riding the black demon horse, he would have suffered internal injuries from the shockwaves. He couldn't exhaust the black demon horse too early. He still had to rely on it for the 300-mile raid later. Fifth Grandfather Han got off his horse. Fifth Grandfather Han's silver hair was like the moon, and his cold eyes shone. Hand over the letter. Otherwise, I'll make sure you don't walk out of here alive. Priest Ching Feng was a spy, so he did have a secret letter in his hands. He thought Fifth Grandfather Han wanted to steal his secret letter. He said, "Come and get it if you can." In Fifth Grandfather Han's ears, Priest Ching Feng was admitting that he had stolen Huang Shupo's secret letter. He attacked Priest Ching Feng with a killer move. Neither of them used any weapons, but their bare-handed fight turned the forest into a smoke-filled battlefield. Gu Jiao and Gu Chongqing followed behind. The two of them rode on their horses and watched the fight between Priest Ching Feng and Fifth Grandfather Han from afar. The two of them fought fiercely, and it was hard to tell who had the upper hand. The birds in the forest were so scared that they fluttered their wings and flew away. The ferocious beasts also let out fearful roars and fled in all directions. Is Han Si's martial arts that high? Gu Jiao sighed. She was almost on par with Priest Ching Feng. Gu Chongqing said, "I'll go help." Gu Jiao nodded. Okay. Gu Chongqing rode his horse and stopped it near the two of them. He tried his best to prevent the innocent horses from being affected by the internal force. Fifth Grandfather, I'll help you. Gu Chongqing drew his long sword and joined the fight. Priest Ching Feng's aura suddenly surged. Gu Chongqing frowned. What a powerful internal force. Priest Ching Feng rose into the air. The aura around him flowed as if it had formed a huge, invisible 8 trigrams plate behind him. In the array, he slammed his palm down and knelt on one knee. The wind from his palm hit the ground hard. In an instant, sand and stones flew, and leaves filled the sky. Taoist Ching Feng seemed to be in a passive position in the fight just now, but he actually had absolute control. Gu Chongqing and Fifth Master Han both fell into his array. Gu Chongqing was in the east in the leap position, while Fifth Grandfather Han was in the west in the camp position. In his array, he was the king. He shouted, "Li Can break." His powerful inner strength was infused with the boundless Tao will of heaven and earth. Like countless invisible blades, they attacked Gu Chongqing and Fifth Master Han with the power of mountains and rivers. Both of them were sent flying. Gu Jiao frowned and galloped over. She stood in front of Taoist Master Ching Feng and said, "I hate it when the Han family bullies others. 2 of you ganging up on one person. What kind of hero are you?" "Priest. I'll help you." Priest Ching Feng's attack had used up a lot of his internal force. He needed some time to recover. It was not that Gu Jiao could not take advantage of the situation. However, if he recovered and came after her, she would be done for. Therefore, she had to be smart. Fifth Grandfather Han immediately stood up after falling to the ground. He was more resilient than Han Yi. Just as Fifth Grandfather Han was about to attack Gu Jiao, Gu Chongqing also stood up with a hand on his chest. "Fifth Grandfather, you don't have to deal with this immature brat. I'll deal with him." The brother and sister fought fiercely on the field. They looked fierce, but they did not use much strength. Gu Jiao's back was facing Priest Ching Feng. She put her hands together and blocked Gu Chongqing's long sword. Gu Chongqing gave her a look. Gu Jiao nodded slightly. "Die." Gu Chongqing hit Gu Jiao's shoulder with his palm. His powerful internal force sent her flying, and she fell toward Priest Ching Feng. Taoist Ching Feng leaped into the air and grabbed Gu Jiao's soft waist. Gu Jiao moved her fingertips and put Priest Ching Feng's small bamboo tube into her sleeve. At the same time, she put Mu Qingqian's bamboo tube back on his waist. In this way, Priest Qing Feng would discover it later if the weight didn't change. Priest Qing Feng and fifth grandfather Han joined the battle again. Gu Jiao and Gu Chongqing were fighting farther and farther away. Xiao Lulang, don't you dare run away. I'll kill you today. The brother and sister galloped on their horses until they could no longer hear Priest Qing Feng and fifth grandfather Han's battle. Only then did they stop and let out a sigh of relief. How was it? Gu Chongqing asked. Gu Jiao took out Priest Qing Feng's small bamboo tube and took out the secret letter. She smiled and said, "It's the real secret letter." Gu Chongqing looked at his sister's smile, and a smile flashed across his eyes. "Including yours, we have 2 secret letters." The last secret letter was in Jun Xiuhan's hands. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. The novel will be updated more quickly. Millions of novels will be read for free. There are all kinds of novels that you can't find on the internet. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642_89642_106570962. HTML Genius remembered the website address in 1 second. www.zhbqg.com Biku Pavilion Mobile Reading Website. zhbqg.com. Chapter 764. The newest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels that can't be found online are all here. Jun Xiuhan's destination was the second fire beacon camp. Gu Jiao spread out the map, and Xiao Heng's markings were very clear. Gu Jiao pointed at the cinnabar path and said, "Under normal circumstances, Jun Xiuhan would take this path. It is relatively flat and wide. He should have reached this birch forest by now. There's actually a small path that can go around, and that is to cross the river." Gu Chongqing looked at the sky and said, "It hasn't rained in the past few days. The river shouldn't be too turbulent. We can cross it." The two took a detour and entered the birch forest, successfully blocking Jun Xiuhan's path. As before, it was Gu Chongqing who appeared. Gu Chongqing blocked Jun Xiuhan's path and coldly said, "Hand over your bamboo tube." Jun Xiuhan was a tall young man. He had the scholarly aura of the world's literati. If one hadn't seen him fight, no one would have seen him as an expert at first glance. But Gu Chongqing and Gu Jiao both understood that people who could reach this stage definitely didn't rely on luck. Jun Xiuhan looked at Gu Chongqing in front of him and didn't seem to be surprised. He looked at the large tree not far away and said, "Do you want it or that person?" Gu Jiao raised her eyebrows. "Oh, so she was found out?" Jun Xiuhan could do it. Gu Chongqing calmly said, "What that person, this person? Cut the crap and hand it over. I won't give you the bamboo tube." Jun Xiuhan's eyes coldly looked in Gu Jiao's direction. "If you want it, come and get it yourself." Was he trying to provoke her? Gu Jiao glanced at Jun Xiuhan from behind the tree. This Jun Xiuhan gave her an indescribable feeling, as if all her disguises had been seen through by him. Since that was the case, there was no need to continue hiding. Gu Jiao rode Black Wind King out from behind the tree and stopped beside Gu Chongqing. Her gaze fell on Jun Xiuhan's young and handsome face. "I'm here to get it." She had observed Jun Xiuhan in the barracks, and she believed that Jun Xiuhan had observed her as well. However, this was the first time they had truly met. When Jun Xiuhan saw her standing with the Han family, there was not a trace of surprise in his eyes. So Jun Xiuhan already knew that she was in cahoots with Han Ziyu? How could he tell? "I'll fight you," Gu Jiao said. "I won't fight you," Jun Xiuhan said. Gu Jiao tilted her head and looked at Jun Xiuhan. Jun Xiuhan took off the bamboo tube from his waist and threw it to Gu Jiao. Gu Jiao. Gu Jiao took the bamboo tube and checked the note inside. It was a secret letter. Jun Xiuhan did not use a fake one to deceive her. Gu Jiao was completely confused. Even Gu Changqing was extremely confused. They were prepared to fight to the death with Jun Xiuhan. But this was it? As if seeing Gu Jiao's confusion, Jun Xiuhan said indifferently, "I owe someone a favor, and now I'm returning it to you." "Who do you owe a favor to that you want to return it to me?" Gu Jiao asked. Jun Xiuhan did not answer. He pulled on the reins, and the horse turned around, going back the way they came. But before he could take 2 steps, he suddenly pulled on the reins. There's killing intent. The next second, there was the sound of something tearing through the air from the other side of the forest. Jun Xiuhan dodged to the side. Gu Changqing pulled out his sword and blocked the hidden weapon that was aimed at Gu Jiao and himself. Gu Jiao looked at the dart embedded in the tree and said indifferently, "Tang sect, Qi Xian." "Ha ha ha. That's right, it's me." Accompanied by arrogant laughter, Qi Xian led a dozen black-clothed men to descend from the sky. The black-clothed men surrounded the 3 of them. In order to avoid making too much noise and being noticed by the examiners, they did not ride horses. They all used qinggong to sneak into the forest. Jun Xiuhan's horse was forced to take several steps back, standing with Gu Changqing and Gu Jiao. "We meet again," Qi Xian said to Gu Jiao with a smile. Then his gaze fell on Gu Changqing's face. "It's you." Gu Changqing was riding a black wind steed. Only 3 people entered the forest on black wind steeds: 5th Master Han's new Black Wind King, Gu Jiao's old Black Wind King, and Han Ziyu's steed. Qi Xian laughed coldly. It seems that the Crown Prince made a mistake this time. He actually allowed a spy to sneak into his residence. "Unfortunately, you're unlucky to have run into me. Today, I'll settle the score with you for severing Han Ye's leg tendons." Gu Jiao raised her eyebrows. "Oh, your leg's healed?" At the mention of this, Qi Xian's face darkened. Back in the forest, this brat had said 1, 2, 3, and then they would fight. In the end, as soon as he shouted 1, he stabbed his thigh with a spear. Stabbing wasn't enough. He even twisted his thigh, almost causing him to die from the pain. Qi Xian threatened coldly, "Xiao Lulang, don't be too proud. No matter how many times you stab me with your spear, I'll return it 10 times over." Jun Xiuhan said expressionlessly, "That's your business. I'm leaving." Qi Xian snorted, "You're unlucky. Today's matter cannot be known to anyone." In other words, he was going to kill Jun Xiuhan to silence him. Jun Xiuhan's identity was easy to guess. Among the 6 people, Jun Xiuhan was the most unfamiliar. Even without guessing, it was obvious that he was the poor student from Jianan Academy. Qi Xian didn't take this kind of small fry seriously. Gu Changqing rode his horse in front of Gu Jiao, blocking Qi Xian's view. He said to Gu Jiao, "You go first. I'll settle this with him." Gu Jiao didn't hesitate and led Black Wind King out of the encirclement. Qi Xian said disdainfully, "Want to run? Chase after them." 2 men in black jumped and slashed at Gu Jiao's back with their swords. Gu Changqing turned around and slashed out a sharp sword aura, slashing the 2 men down from the air. On the other side, the battle between Taoist Qingfeng and 5th Master Han had reached its climax. 5th Master Han gradually felt that things were getting tricky. Although he wasn't at a disadvantage, his internal energy couldn't hold on much longer. Although he didn't want to admit it, Taoist Qingfeng's martial arts were indeed above his. Taoist Qingfeng only used 50% of his strength. If he wanted to tie with Taoist Qingfeng, he would have to use 70% of his strength. As a result, he naturally wore out his energy faster. The 2 of them punched each other again and retreated. 5th Master Han's silky silver hair had already turned into a wooden brush. He panted and said, "You're a monk. Can't you compete with me fair and square? Why did you have to use such a despicable method like stealing my secret letter?" Taoist Qingfeng said strangely, "Stealing your secret letter? I didn't." 5th Master Han said coldly, "You're still lying. Someone saw it." Taoist Qingfeng was naturally stunned. "Mu Qingchen? I've only seen him before you." 5th Master Han was stunned. If someone else said this, he would think that they were lying. But Taoist Qingfeng, He frowned. You didn't go to Huang Shupo just now. No, Taoist Qingfeng said. Fifth Master Han said, you didn't steal my secret letter either? Taoist Qingfeng said, my secret letter is mine. Fifth Master Han was stunned again. Yours? Yes. Taoist Qingfeng nodded and took the bamboo tube from his waist. The moment he took it, he sensed that something was wrong. He had made a mark on his bamboo tube, but this one was unmarked. What's wrong? My bamboo tube has been replaced. Fifth Master Han walked over to him suspiciously. Taoist Qingfeng opened the bamboo tube. The note inside had already been taken away by Gu Jiao. It was empty. Fifth Master Han pondered for a moment and reached out to Taoist Qingfeng. Give me the bamboo tube. I have a way. Taoist Qingfeng gave it to him without hesitation. Fifth Master Han frowned. Aren't you afraid that I'll take your bamboo tube and run away? Taoist Qingfeng glanced at him. I can take it back. Fifth Master Han couldn't refute. This is a military messenger tube. To prevent anyone from tampering with it, a message is left on the inside of the tube. As he spoke, he opened the bamboo tube and took out a fire roll to warm the outside of the bamboo tube. Not long after, a line of small words appeared on the inner wall of the bamboo tube. Enter the Pine Mountain Range and ambush the enemy camp near the Purple Grass Pond. Seize the secret letter and deliver it to the 3rd Fire Beacon Camp. Personally hand it over to the Left Deputy General of the garrison. Fifth Master Han wasn't too surprised. He guessed that they were going to deliver the secret letter to different fire beacon camps. This should be Mu Qingchen's, said Fifth Master Han. Only Mu Qingchen and Taoist Qingfeng were going to the 3rd Fire Beacon Camp. If it wasn't Taoist Qingfeng's, then it could only be Mu Qingchen's. Taoist Qingfeng suddenly said, Huh? His mission is different from mine. Fifth Master Han looked at him in confusion. What's your mission? Taoist Qingfeng read out the contents of the letter from his memory. I'm a spy. I'm going to deliver the secret letter to the 3rd Fire Beacon Camp. Fifth Master Han pondered. Only Xiao Lulang got close to you just now. If your bamboo tube was switched, then it must be Xiao Liulang's doing. Strange. Why did he steal your bamboo tube? Don't we all have our own missions? Taoist Qingfeng thought for a moment and said, maybe it's because my secret letter is the only real one. The real letter? Fifth Master Han was even more confused. Taoist Qingfeng did not shy away from reading out his mission. You are a Turkic spy. This is the real secret letter from the Turkic army. Quickly take the only secret letter to the 3rd Fire Beacon Camp and personally hand it to the right Deputy General of the rebel army in the camp. After that, he and Fifth Master Han fell silent. The two of them finally realized that something was wrong. Han Ziyu, Mu Qingchen, and I have similar missions. The only difference is that we're going to rob different places and destinations. The 3 of us are all cavalrymen. If the secret letter in your hand is the real one, then the one we robbed from the enemy camp is fake. No wonder Xiao Lulang stole your secret letter. Only your secret letter can complete the mission. No, Taoist Qingfeng said, if there are 3 cavalrymen, then there should be 3 spies. You cavalrymen have the same mission, so we spies must have the same mission. The secret letter in my hand is not the only real one. The secret letters in the hands of the 3 spies are all real. Your cavalry's mission is to obtain all 3 secret letters, while our spy's mission is to destroy the other 2 secret letters and turn our secret letter into the only one that exists. Fifth Master Han said slowly, we know that the 3 cavalrymen are me, Han Ziyu, and Mu Qingchen. Then the 3 spies are you, Xiao Lulang, and Jun Xiuhan. Taoist Qingfeng said, yes. Fifth Master Han frowned. Xiao Lulang must have stolen your secret letter for this reason. But how did he know? Who would suspect that there was a hidden mission in the first place? He and Taoist Qingfeng had only guessed the truth after comparing the 4 people's bamboo tubes. Taoist Qingfeng looked at the blue sky and said seriously, maybe he's a genius. Fifth Master Han, I'm going to find Xiao Lulang. See you later. The Fifth Master Han rode on the black demon horse and quickly disappeared while Taoist Qingfeng was in a daze. Taoist Qingfeng also planned to chase after him. Although his secret letter might have been destroyed by Xiao Lulang, it didn't matter. This selection actually had a hidden trigger. That was, the identities of the 6 people could be changed at any time. When they drew lots, they didn't register each person's identity and destination. This meant that it wasn't important. What was important was who completed the mission in the bamboo tube. If he stole Xiao Liulang's secret letter and delivered it to the #1 fire beacon camp, he could still complete the mission. Taoist Qingfeng thought of the key point and immediately mounted his horse. Unfortunately, before he set off, a chuckle came from the big tree in front of him. Liao Zue was lying on a lush branch. He supported his head with one hand and held a wine pot with the other. He raised his head and drank a mouthful of wine. His delicate Adam's apple moved. His monk robes were ascetic, but his peach blossom eyes exuded a breathtaking aura. The mole under his eye gave him a natural temptation. It was as if he could be a Buddha who delivered all living beings from torment or a demon who brought chaos to the world. He smiled and said, "I'm lonely. Why don't you have a drink with me, Taoist?" Gu Jiao rode on Black Wind King and galloped. Actually, just now, she had already guessed the hidden trigger. The identities of the 6 people could be changed, so even if she destroyed the other 2 secret letters, it didn't mean that she could rest easy. She had to complete the mission as soon as possible. First, she had to get out of the forest as soon as possible. It would be much safer once she was on the official road. Nobody would dare to openly assassinate her. However, just as Gu Jiao was about to walk out of the forest, 5th Master Han rode on his black demon horse and rushed over from the side. Gu Jiao felt an extremely powerful murderous aura. Her eyes turned cold as she suddenly pulled out the red-tasseled spear on her back and blocked Black Wind King's head. A crisp sound of collision was heard, and sparks flew everywhere. It was a dagger. If Gu Jiao had reacted a little slower, Black Wind King's head would have been pierced by the dagger. To catch bandits, first catch the ringleader. To shoot a person, first shoot the horse. As expected of the Han family's fierce general, Gu Jiao hung the red-tasseled spear on the saddle's special slot and grabbed the big bow on her back. She took out 3 arrows from the quiver and mercilessly shot them at 5th Master Han. 5th Master Han cut all the arrows with his sword. At the same time, his horse completely blocked in front of Gu Jiao and Black Wind King. "Xiao Lulang, hand over your secret letter." 5th Master Han's reply was another round of arrows from Gu Jiao. 5th Master Han didn't expect Gu Jiao to be so ruthless and decisive. She didn't waste any words and just attacked. 5th Master Han was shocked by the killing intent in the youth's eyes. He narrowed his eyes and swung out a sharp sword aura, instantly shattering Gu Jiao's arrows into pieces. Gu Jiao raised her hand and pulled off the cloak on her body. The youth was wearing red battle clothes and black iron armor. She jumped down from the horse's back. 5th Master Han felt the youth's powerful aura, but in the next second, he was shocked by the braided red tasseled spear in the youth's hand. Where did this weapon come from? It was so eye-catching. Although it was eye-catching, the strength of the spear shocked 5th Master Han once again. 5th Master Han's black demon horse trembled. 5th Master Han frowned and blocked Gu Jiao's red-tasseled spear with his sword. Then he jumped off his horse and slashed at Gu Jiao with his sword. Gu Jiao blocked the sword, and both her arms were slightly numb. No wonder she could fight Taoist Priest Qingfeng for so long. It wasn't that Taoist Priest Qingfeng went easy on her, but this guy was really strong. 5th Master Han said coldly, "Xiao Lulang, you're no match for me. According to today's rules, I can't kill you, but I have 100 ways to torture you. So you'd better hand over the secret letter obediently, or else you'll suffer." 5th Master Han was already very difficult to deal with. If Taoist Priest Qingfeng came, she had no chance of winning. She had to end this quickly. Gu Jiao didn't hesitate anymore. She looked coldly at 5th Master Han. Under his confused gaze, she took off the safety talisman on her neck. Boss catch. She threw the safety talisman to Black Wind King. Black Wind King caught it with his mouth. "What's this kid doing?" 5th Master Han looked at Gu Jiao strangely. Gu Jiao's fingertip lightly scratched the sharp edge of the red-tasseled spear, and a string of bright red blood flowed out. She wiped the droplet of blood on her lips. In the next second, her aura suddenly surged. Fifth Master Han's expression changed. "This is..." Gu Jiao pulled out the red-tasseled spear, took a step forward, and jumped up. With a flip in the air, the spear in her hand was like a dragon, and it fiercely slashed at Fifth Master Han. Fifth Master Han's black iron sword was split in half on the spot. She knelt on one knee, one hand on the ground, and the other hand holding the red-tasseled spear behind her back. Her eyes were bloodshot. She was no longer the handsome young man. She was a killing god, a demon, and an Azura. Fifth Master Han threw away his long sword, changed his palm into a fist, and attacked Gu Jiao's vital point. Gu Jiao used the red-tasseled spear as leverage and jumped up high again. Her right knee was aimed at Fifth Master Han's chin. Fifth Master Han was sent flying. He fell heavily on the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. 3 moves. The young man defeated him in just 3 moves. But Fifth Master Han wouldn't admit defeat so easily. If he couldn't beat the young man, then he would kill his horse. Fifth Master Han shot a hidden weapon in his sleeve at Black Wind King. Almost at the same time, Fifth Master Han shot a second hidden weapon at Gu Jiao. She could only protect one between herself and Black Wind King. Gu Jiao didn't hesitate to protect Black Wind King. The hidden weapon flashed past Gu Jiao's temple. The hidden weapon didn't hurt Gu Jiao, but the poisonous powder on it entered Gu Jiao's eyes. Gu Jiao couldn't see. Ha ha. Ha ha ha. Fifth Master Han spat out blood as he laughed crazily on the ground. Xiao Lulang, so what if you defeated me? You were still poisoned by the Tang sect. You can't see, you can't even walk out of this forest. How are you going to go to the fire beacon camp? The angry Black Wind King stood in front of Gu Jiao. Gu Jiao was on the verge of losing control, but thanks to the pain in her eyes, she regained a bit of her consciousness. Boss, give me the safety talisman. She reached out her hand. Black Wind King placed the safety talisman in Gu Jiao's palm. Gu Jiao put the safety talisman back around her neck. Her eyes hurt. They were also afraid of light. She couldn't open her eyes. Master's wife should be able to cure this poison. She felt Black Wind King's killing intent, but now wasn't the time for revenge. Black Wind King had to conserve his strength. Boss, she called out to Black Wind King. She closed her eyes and gently comforted Black Wind King's emotions, trying to calm herself down. Black Wind King knelt down considerately, allowing Gu Jiao to ride easily. Gu Jiao touched the saddle and sat on it. Black Wind King stood up. Gu Jiao untied the headband on her head and covered her eyes with the headband with both hands. Fifth Master Han was so injured that he couldn't move, but when he saw Gu Jiao like this, he couldn't help but mock. What? You still want to deliver the secret letter in this state? Can you see the road? Gu Jiao held the reins and straightened her back. I can't see, but boss can. Fifth Master Han sneered. Boss? You mean this old Black Wind King? I admit that it's an excellent warhorse, but it's a pity that it has never been to the fire beacon camp in the Han family's 15 years. It doesn't need to go, Gu Jiao said. It was born in the fire beacon camp. In the first fire beacon camp, Xian Yuan Li's temporary courtyard. It lived there until it was a year old, before it was taken back to the Xian Yuan family's mansion. Gu Jiao bent down and gently stroked Black Wind King's mane. Can you remember, boss? You must remember, just like how you remember your master. The Black Wind Cavalry didn't belong to the Han family. This dangerous 300 miles was not the road to pass the level, but the road to bring the Black Wind Cavalry home. The Black Wind Cavalry had been waiting for this day for a long time. Bring the Black Wind Cavalry home, boss. Fifth Master Han sneered. Xiao Lulang, don't waste your time. You won't be able to walk out of this forest. Before he could finish speaking, he saw the Black Wind Cavalry let out a long howl towards the sky. It suddenly raised its front hooves, and like an arrow leaving a bow, it rushed towards the northeast with Gu Jiao. That direction was The first fire beacon camp. Fifth Master Han was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. Xiao Lulang. It's useless. Your horse is already old. It can't run 300 miles. It has to rest every 30 miles. Taoist Qing Feng will catch up to you. The Han family will also catch up to you. Lightning flashed and thunder roared. Torrential rain poured down like a pillar. Black Wind King galloped through the hail like rain. It had already galloped for 100 miles without stopping. It wanted to bring the Black Wind cavalry home, and it also wanted to bring Gu Jiao home. Digression, the Black Wind cavalry babies are going home in the next chapter. Oh, please give me a monthly ticket. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster and more complete. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels that can't be found online are all available here. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642_89642826/106555041. HTML Genius, memorize this website's address. www.zhbqg.com Biku Mobile Reading Website. zhbqg.com. Chapter 765. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels that can't be found online are all available here. Fifth Master. Fifth Master. The Han family's men of sacrifice found Fifth Master Han, who had almost lost his body temperature from the rain. Although it was summer, the Songzhan mountain range was very high and the temperature was lower than other places. With the terrible storm, the heavily injured Fifth Master Han almost lost his life. If it wasn't for the Black Devil King using his body to block some of the wind and rain, he probably wouldn't have survived until the Han family found him. The leader of the men of sacrifice helped Fifth Master Han sit up and took off his cloak to wrap around him. Fifth Master Han couldn't stop trembling. He couldn't feel his hands and feet, and even the muscles on his cheeks were almost numb. Originally, with his strength, he shouldn't have been defeated so quickly. On one hand, he didn't use all his strength. Another important reason was that he seemed to see a familiar figure when Xiao Lulang attacked him. It was a figure that he couldn't remove from his mind in this life, the next life, and the life after that. His mind was in a daze, and his body froze. He couldn't use his internal energy to block Xiao Liulang's attack, and in the end, he fell into Xiao Liulang's trap. He didn't lose to martial arts, but to his own heart and emotions. The men of sacrifice said worriedly, "I'll take you back now. Don't worry about me." Fifth Master Han used the last of his strength to open his numb lips and said, "Go, chase." Xiao Lulang. First. Fire. Beacon. Battalion. This group of men of sacrifice wasn't with Qi Xian. Qi Xian led Han Ye's men, and he was secretly helping the property management under the orders of the family head. They didn't know that Qi Xian was also here. But they had one thing in common, and that was that they didn't ride horses. "Go ride my horse." Xiao Lulang was eager to end the battle. He had used all his strength to attack Xiao Lulang, and his body was already exhausted. Moreover, he could not see. As long as the Han family's men of sacrifice could catch up with him, they would be able to severely injure him and take back the secret letter. The leader of the men of sacrifice instructed his companions, "You guys, take the fifth lord and hurry. I'll chase after Xiao Lulang first." When he caught up, he would deliver the secret letter to Fifth Lord and escort him to the first fire beacon camp. Yes, the few of them answered. "Wait." Fifth Grandfather Han stopped him. The suicide soldier said, "Fifth Lord, do you have any other orders?" Fifth Grandfather Han said, "I have a bottle of medicine for the dark demon horse. If it can't run anymore, give it one pill to recover its stamina." Yes. The kamikaze soldier took out the medicine bottle and turned around to ride the Black Demon King. The black demon horse was very uncooperative at first, and the kamikaze soldier fell a few times before he could ride it. This was the result of Fifth Han's carrot and stick approach. However, once the kamikaze soldier took over, the Black Demon King's speed could only be described as lightning. The kamikaze soldier rushed toward the first fire beacon camp without stopping. On the other side, the battle between Taoist Qingfeng and Liao Chen was coming to an end. Liao Chen didn't want to kill anyone today, so he didn't have much killing intent when he attacked. He also held back some of his strength. However, Taoist Qingfeng's every move was deadly. Liao Chen was forced to retreat until his back hit a tree. When he couldn't retreat anymore, Taoist Qingfeng sealed his acupoints with 2 fingers. Liao Chen couldn't move. He sighed and looked at Taoist Qingfeng with a smile. He said in a hurt voice, "Taoist Qingfeng, you're so heartless." Taoist Qingfeng's palm hit his vital gate. He really wanted to take his life. Liao Chen clicked his tongue. He activated his vital qi, and the acupoints were unsealed. He tapped his toes and jumped up the tree. He looked at Taoist Qingfeng under the tree with a half-smile. "You don't want to do this the hard way? If this continues, I'll have to be serious." Taoist Qingfeng was a cultivator. He had a tough heart and a mild temperament. He wasn't happy with material gains or sad for himself. He had already transcended the secular world. Only Liao Chen could make Taoist Qingfeng so angry that he wanted to kill someone. However, Taoist Qingfeng suppressed his desire to kill Liao Chen today. After all, he had more important things to do. He raised his head and looked at Liao Chen with his beautiful eyes. "Come down. I'll drink with you." Liao Chen curled his lips and landed gracefully. Taoist Qingfeng took out a rope from his sleeve and tied Liao Chen up. Liao Chen was speechless. Taoist Qingfeng hung Liao Chen under the tree and turned around to mount his horse. Liao Chen swayed under the tree like a small silkworm. He looked at Taoist Qingfeng's back and curled his red lips. He said with a smile, "If you dare to leave, I'll tell the world that you're the thief who was watched by thousands of disciples at Baiyun Taoist Temple on a moonlit night a few years ago." Taoist Qingfeng was about to explode. It was raining cats and dogs. The black demon horse kept chasing in the rain. It was very young and had a lot of stamina. It also had better endurance than ordinary war horses. It ran tirelessly, leaving the Mount Song mountain range far behind. The lightning didn't stop it. It was like the bravest warrior, chasing after its enemy without caring about the consequences. It's not enough. The man of sacrifice grabbed the reins and wiped the rain off his face. They had already run for nearly 100 miles, but the black demon horse still didn't show any signs of fatigue. He had never seen such a powerful war horse. However, it still needed to be faster. The man of sacrifice took out the pills that Fifth Master Han had given him and fed one to the black demon horse. The black demon horse quickly recovered its stamina and sped up a little. Finally, after passing through a small forest, the man of sacrifice heard the sound of hooves coming from ahead. The man of sacrifice was delighted. It was Xiao Lulang. It must be Xiao Lulang. The sky was already dark. The entire world was covered in a heavy downpour. Running on a rainy night was actually a very dangerous thing to do. The cavalry's line of sight was obstructed, so they mostly relied on the war horse's senses. Normally, war horses would slow down. Firstly, the cavalry would request it. Secondly, war horses had an instinct to avoid danger. However, the Black Wind King didn't slow down. It was like a bolt of lightning in the rainy night. The man of sacrifice heard the sound of hooves getting farther and farther away. He clenched his teeth. Damn it. We were about to catch up. Why does it feel like the distance has widened again? Hiya. Hiya. The man of sacrifice raised his speed to the maximum and finally caught up to the Black Wind King. This time, the distance between them was unbelievably close. The man of sacrifice unsheathed the long sword at his waist. He only needed one slash to deal a heavy blow to Xiao Lulang. The Black Wind King galloped, all the muscles on its body taut. Just as the man of sacrifice slashed down, it suddenly swerved to the right and charged into the fork in the road ahead. Me. The man of sacrifice slashed down. Because he didn't expect the Black Wind King to suddenly change directions. He didn't even have time to pull the reins and stop. The Black Devil Horse was too fast. In the blink of an eye, it was already 100 feet away. If it turned around and chased after the Black Wind King, it would be even harder to catch up. Forget it. You've left the fork, so you'll have to return to the main road. I'll wait for you in front. However, the Black Wind King didn't give him the chance to stop him. When he returned to the main road, he was only a horse's length away, but the Black Wind King had already run ahead. I didn't catch up again. The man of sacrifice was so angry that he didn't feel good. Wasn't it an old horse? How could it run so fast? However, it wasn't all smooth sailing ahead. There were other guards from the Han family guarding the road. When they heard the sound of galloping hooves, they drew their long swords and lined up to block the road. They were ready for battle. The Black Wind King didn't hesitate at all. As if it was breaking through mountains and rivers, it broke through the blockade of the Han family guards. 2 of the Han family guards were sent flying. It was too fast. It was too strong. This wasn't the Black Wind King they knew. The Black Wind King wasn't this strong. One of the bodyguards looked in the direction where the man and the horse had left and shouted, "Cut the rope for me." The cable bridge was in front. The guard guarding the bridge on the other side pulled out his sword and cut the ropes at the end of the bridge. The wooden bridge broke, and the broken parts hit the cliff with a loud noise. There was a distance of 10 feet between the 2 cliffs. No horse could cross it. However, the guards were surprised to find that the Black Wind King didn't slow down. What is it trying to do? It can't be trying to cross it, right? It's courting death. Are the soldiers stupid? Why aren't they stopping it? Hey! A guard shouted at Gu Jiao's back. Your horse is going to jump off the cliff. Stop it before it's too late. They couldn't let Gu Jiao jump. They hadn't gotten the secret letter from Gu Jiao yet. If Gu Jiao fell off the cliff, 5th Master Han wouldn't be able to complete his mission. Stop. You'll die. They sincerely wanted to stop Gu Jiao from falling off the cliff and dying. Gu Jiao couldn't see, but she could still sense. She heard the sound of the bridge breaking and felt the cold wind from the abyss. However, she didn't stop the Black Wind King. The Black Wind King accelerated. She wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth and grabbed the reins. She clamped the horse's abdomen and stood in the stirrups. The Black Wind King's muscles tensed as it leaped. Almost at the same time, the Black Demon Horse and the Loyalists arrived. The bridge is broken. The bridge is broken. Don't go. The Han family guard shouted. The Loyalists pulled on the reins and stopped the carriage with the Black Demon Horse at the edge of the cliff. They were able to stop the carriage because of the Loyalists and the Black Demon Horse's instinct to avoid danger. The Black Demon Horse retreated a few steps. This was a distance that even the Black Demon Horse couldn't cross. No one dared to look down. The Black Wind King and the cavalrymen were about to fall off the cliff. Ah! A guard shouted. Look, it crossed the cliff. It surpassed its instincts and overcame its fear of the cliff. It crossed a distance that no warhorse had ever been able to challenge. It was the Black Wind King, without a doubt. The guards at both ends of the bridge were stunned. For a moment, they didn't even know how to react. The Black Wind King carried Gu Jiao and smoothly ran past the Han family guards. Ah! They ran away. A guard who had been sent flying said, while clutching his aching chest. However, no one dared to chase after him. The youth's unreserved trust and the Black Wind King's unwavering struggle showed them the most precious thing on the battlefield. They didn't know what kind of spirit this was, but they felt their hearts being sprinkled with hot blood. They didn't want to chase. At least, not now. 5th Master Han was right. The 3 moves that Gu Jiao used to defeat him had cost her almost all of her strength. She had never used such an overdraft fighting style in any battle before. But even so, she couldn't kill Han Ci. Han Ci was too strong. Blood flowed up her throat and spilled out from the corner of her mouth. At first, she could still swallow it, but later, She didn't even have the strength to suppress the sweet taste in her throat. Blood flowed all over the Black Wind King's back. She persevered with her willpower. The Black Wind King's situation wasn't much better. A normal horse would have to rest after running at full speed for 20 to 30 kilometers, but cavalry could only travel 70 to 80 kilometers a day. If they forced their way through, they could travel over 100 kilometers, but they still had to rest. Only when the horse ran to its death would it travel over 100 kilometers day and night. 200 kilometers, 250 kilometers, 260 kilometers. The Black Wind King approached his limit again and again. He was so tired that he wanted to collapse, but he gritted his teeth and persevered. At dawn, the rain stopped. The first rays of dawn pierced through the thin clouds in the east, passing over the peaks of the mountains and shining on the empty and quiet camp. Every day, the soldiers were awakened by the beating of the war drums. But today, they were awakened by the sound of hurried horse hooves. They thought it was an enemy attack, but when they came to the entrance of the camp, they saw a black warhorse and a blindfolded youth. A man and a horse came over with the momentum of a magnificent army. The entire mountain and river shook. Gu Jiao successfully handed the bamboo tube to the left deputy general of the garrison. The deputy general looked at the blindfolded youth and couldn't help but wave his hand at the youth. The youth didn't respond. The deputy general of the garrison was stunned. He couldn't see? Then how did he run 300 kilometers to get here? The left deputy general was about to ask Gu Jiao what happened to his eyes when he saw the man and the horse collapse to the ground. The left deputy general was shocked. Men, call the medical officer. Is it early today? The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster and more complete. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels that can't be found online are all available here. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642_8964286/106-535-240. HTML Genius memorized this site's address: www.zhbqg.com. Biku Pavilion Mobile Reading Website. zhbqg.com. Chapter 766. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. Please scan the QR code below to download the app. The novel will be updated more quickly. Millions of novels will be read for free. All the novels that cannot be found on the internet are available here. In the hot summer, the cicadas on the trees kept chirping. Gu Jiao woke up to the sound of cicadas. She slowly opened her eyes. Her eyes were covered with gauze. She raised her hand to remove the gauze. The dazzling light suddenly shone on her. She subconsciously closed her eyes and tilted her head. When she adjusted to the light, she opened her eyes again. In her blurred vision, she vaguely saw the familiar windowsill, the familiar table, the familiar chair, and the familiar little boy on the ground. There were no classes in the academy today. Little Jing Kong did not go anywhere. He was playing in the room while waiting for Gu Jiao to wake up. It was hot, so Xiao Hung made a mat for him on the ground. As he played, he lay down on the mat. One side of his face was pressed down until it was chubby. Saliva flowed all over the floor, and his little but stuck up high as he fell asleep. Awake. A man's low voice came from above her head. Gu Jiao blinked and looked up at Xiao Hung. This position was too difficult. Her neck was almost broken. Xiao Hung quickly got up and sat on the edge of the bed. He stretched out his slender hand and touched her forehead. It's not hot anymore. Gu Jiao's vision was still a little blurry, but seeing that he was in a good mood, her eyes lit up. You're here too, she said. Xiao Hung pulled back his hand and snorted. What do you mean by I'm here too? You're the second one to see me. Gu Jiao said seriously, you're sitting in the wrong position. It's too high. I have to roll my eyes to see you. Xiao Heng listened to her clear words and careful logic and knew that she was fine. She was caught in the rain during the last round of selection. After being sent back to the state preceptor's palace, she had a high fever for 3 days and 3 nights. Her fever only subsided this morning. It was now afternoon. How are you feeling? How is the Black Wind King? The two of them asked in unison. Xiao Heng smiled helplessly. The Black Wind King is fine. Look. As he spoke, he raised his hand and pointed outside the window. Gu Jiao looked up slightly. Unfortunately, she could not see from this angle. Xiao Heng gently helped her sit up. Now he could see everything clearly. The Black Wind King had recovered quite well. His body was wrapped in bandages, and he was enjoying the cool air under a big tree in the courtyard. The Horse King was jumping happily behind it, like an excited baby who had been injected with chicken blood, running here and there. He knew that she would be worried about the Black Wind King, so he brought it to the courtyard so that she could see it as soon as she woke up. That's great. Gu Jiao smiled. The Black Wind King, and Black Gu Black Wind King, Black A, silent tacit, understanding flowed in the eyes of the man and the horse. Gu Jiao understood that it was really fine. The Black Wind King also understood that Gu Jiao was really fine. Gu Jiao paused for a moment, then asked, "By the way, where is Gu Changqing? Is he okay?" Gu Changqing was up against Qi Xian. Qi Xian was an expert from the Tang sect, and he had brought many of the Han family's men of sacrifice with him. Xiao Heng said he was slightly injured, but he's fine now. You don't have to worry. Also, Qi Xian is dead. Gu Changqing had killed him with his own hands. He had tried to hurt Gu Jiao time and time again. Gu Changqing would rather die with him than let him go back alive. As for the Han family's men of sacrifice, none of them survived. Also, Gu Changqing asked me to remind you that Jun Xiuhan is an expert. The main reason why Gu Changqing could kill Qi Xian was that Jun Xiuhan had taken care of the Han family's men of sacrifice. Gu Changqing didn't have to be distracted to display his full strength. Jun Xiuhan, Gu Jiao said thoughtfully. I owe someone a favor, and I'm returning it to you now. Who did Jun Xiuhan owe a favor to? Why did he return it to her? Don't you care about yourself? Xiao Heng looked at her seriously. Gu Jiao was slightly stunned. What about me? Xiao Heng took a deep breath and told himself not to get angry. Do you know that you had a high fever for 3 days and almost lost your sight? Gu Jiao was confused for a moment, then nodded. Oh, I think so. I would have forgotten if you didn't mention it. 5th Master Han used a dirty trick and poisoned me. But I can see now. It was just that she couldn't see clearly. Xiao Heng said, Madam Nan came and detoxified the poison for you. Your eyes will slowly recover. Don't run around before that. Gu Jiao opened her mouth. I know what you want to ask. Xiao Heng knew her too well. She didn't care about herself at all. She was worried about others. Xiao Heng said, Gu Changqing's antidote is almost ready. It's not a difficult poison to detoxify. It's just that some of the herbs are troublesome to dry in the sun. He'll go get it in 3 days. Can you be completely relieved now? Gu Jiao opened her mouth again. Xiao Heng sighed. It's not exposed. There are no side effects. Everything is very good. Gu Jiao hummed and said happily, Mistress, you're really amazing. Xiao Heng was angry and amused. He lowered his head and chuckled helplessly. Then he held one of her hands and raised his hand to tidy up her hair. You're amazing too, my commander-in-chief. Gu Jiao opened her eyes wide. Huh? In the throne room, the ministers had different opinions about appointing Xiao Lulang as the new commander-in-chief of the Black Wind Battalion. Your Majesty, I don't think it's appropriate. The governor came out with the ceremonial tablet in his hand. Dong Wei, the minister of the Ministry of Justice, asked, Lord Su, what's wrong with it? The governor's surname was Su. He was the old master of the Su family and Mu Qingqian's grandfather. He said coldly, How can the Yan dynasty appoint a man from the Zhao kingdom as the commander-in-chief? Dong Wei said, He has been adopted by Dukan. He's from the Yan dynasty. That's still inappropriate. Old Master Su objected firmly. Dong Wei bowed to the monarch on the throne and said seriously to Old Master Su, "The selection of the commander-in-chief of the Black Wind Battalion was proposed by His Majesty and agreed by all the aristocratic families. All the family heads and civil and military officials know the rules very well. They didn't object earlier or later, and only objected after the selection. Is it because Lord Su can't afford to lose?" Old Master Su snorted coldly. "How can an adopted son count? He's not duke and son." Dong Wei smiled. "But I remember that an adopted son of the Su family also participated in the selection. Of the 2 places of the Su family, one was given to Mu Qingqian, and the other was a master invited from outside. Of course, the master was not there to compete for the first place, but to exhaust the opponents for Mu Qingqian. Everyone knew that this was a routine operation of the selection, but they didn't say anything." The Su clan's old master was rendered speechless. The monarch said impatiently, "Okay, stop arguing." He had a headache because of the quarrel. Not only were these stubborn old men depressed, but he was also very depressed. He didn't want anyone to advance from the beginning. He was prepared to recall the Black Wind Cavalry, but who knew that someone would actually pass? How did this Xiao Lulang pass the selection? How did he guess the mission hidden in the secret letter? And what were 5th Master Han and Feng Wuming of the Feng family doing? They couldn't even stop a brat from the Zhao country? He would rather the Feng family take away the military power than let the Duke An's mansion take advantage of it. However, he was the monarch of a country. His words were golden, and he couldn't change them. He was crazy, he was tyrannical, but he had a good reason for doing so. He was only good at using the heaviest punishment to measure the lightest mistake, but it didn't mean that he would punish people if they didn't make a mistake. Those were all private operations that couldn't be done in public. "Han Lei," the monarch said irritably. "This minister is here." Han Lei took a step forward while holding the ceremonial tablet. The monarch's heart was bleeding. He held back his anger and reluctantly said, "Send the Black Wind Battalion's commander flag, commander seal, and token to Xiao Lulang of the Dukan's mansion." Han Lei painfully said, "Yes." After the Mu family lost 200,000 soldiers, the Han family also lost 50,000 Black Wind cavalry. Gu Jiao got up from the bed. There were no female disciples in the state preceptor hall. These days, Shangguanyan's palace maid changed her clothes for her. Today, the palace maid was not here, so Xiao Hong had a rare opportunity to take care of his wife. Gu Jiao sat on the bed. Xiao Hong stood behind her and tied her hair. She was dressed as a teenager, so her hair was gently tied with a hairband. But her hands, Gu Jiao bitterly looked at her 2 big bare paws wrapped with thick gauze. "Isn't it too exaggerated?" Xiao Hong said, "The state preceptor personally tied it for you. He said it wasn't exaggerated." Gu Jiao curled her lips. What Xiao Hong didn't say was that her hand had been holding the reins for too long. Her palm was bruised and bloody. After it dried, it stuck to the reins. The doctor didn't know where to start and cut the reins. She and the horse were sent to the state preceptor hall for the state preceptor to treat. The reason why she was sent to the state preceptor hall was because the state preceptor said that he was willing to provide treatment for the selected cavalry. If she was injured, she should be sent to the state preceptor hall. Gu Jiao fainted at that time and couldn't remember anything. Fortunately, she fainted, otherwise it would be very painful. Little Jinkong had already been carried to the bed. He changed to a sprawled position and continued to sleep soundly. One side of his face was still imprinted on the mat. Gu Jiao looked at him, then at Black Wind King and Horse King in the courtyard. Then she looked at Xiao Hong, who was treating her gently. The room was very quiet, and the cicadas were very noisy. But somehow, her heart was very happy and peaceful. She lifted the thin blanket on her body with her big bare paws wrapped in gauze and got out of bed. Just as she took a step, her legs went soft, and she fell down with a plop. Xiao Hong hurriedly reached out to catch her, but she fell too fast, and the inertia was too great. He couldn't catch her, so he had to jump forward, hold her, and fall down with her. He fell heavily on the cold and hard floor. Are you okay? He hugged her tightly and asked. Gu Jiao lay on his body and shook her head. I'm fine. How about you? Are you hurt? Am I very heavy? Xiao Hong was still in a protective position. He held her waist with one hand and covered her head with the other. He smiled gently. I'm not in pain. Also, you're not heavy either. Gu Jiao asked strangely, why are my legs so soft? She didn't expect it at all. Xiao Hong said softly, you used too much strength. You didn't rest for a day and night. You've been riding a horse all this time. It would be strange if your legs didn't go soft. Gu Jiao rested her head on Xiao Hong's strong chest and said with a long sigh, my legs don't feel like they belong to me. I can't even move my toes. Husband, you're really amazing. Xiao Hong, who didn't drive but was hit by the car, was speechless. Yu He, who just came to the door with the medicine, was also speechless. Digression. The second night watch is also very early. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. The novel is also updated at a faster rate. Millions of novels are free to read. There are novels with connotations that can't be found on the internet here. https://www.zhbqg.com/8964-2_8964-282/106-534302. HTML Genius memorized the website address in 1 second. www.zhbqg.com Bikuga mobile reading website. zhbqg.com. Chapter 767. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with content that can't be found online are all here. Gu Jiao was very careful in the State Teacher Hall, using a young man's voice. Her identity as a woman was not exposed. But it was better to expose her identity. Two grown men acting like this. He was about to go crazy. What did he do wrong? Why did he have to bump into this kind of thing again and again? He really didn't want to know the relationship between the imperial grandson and young Master Xiao. You even called him young Master Xiao. Are you two playing this big? Also, young Master Xiao, your martial strength is so high, but you're actually the one below. Did you forget that you're already the new commander of the Black Wind Cavalry? Is this how you celebrate your promotion and wealth? Also, imperial grandson, you're someone who's about to die. Don't you know how to take it easy? No, you two should take it easy. One is a patient. The other is an injured person. Even if it's an injury. He was already unable to look at Gu Jiao and Xiao Hong. He stood at the door, not knowing if he should leave or not. Xiao Hong turned his head and saw Yu He, who looked like he was struck by lightning. His body stiffened, but he didn't immediately push Gu Jiao away. Instead, he hugged her even more tightly. He raised his wide sleeves to tightly cover Gu Jiao's little head, and then gave Yu He a look that said, "You'll see for yourself." "Is someone coming?" Gu Jiao asked. "It's fine," Xiao Hong said calmly. Yu He's mouth twitched. "Your Highness Imperial Grandson, your skills are already this high? Last time you even blushed." Then they quickly separated. "Now you're treating me like a pumpkin." Yu He was crazily cursing in his heart. His image as a gentleman was about to collapse. See no evil, see no evil. Yu He closed his eyes again and groped his way into the room. He placed the medicine on the table and groped his way out again. This kind of thing was unfamiliar the first time, but familiar the second time. He didn't bump into the pillar. Yu He and the others had already walked far away. Xiao Heng's ears were a bit red. He was thin-skinned, so how could he remain indifferent after being seen? But compared to pushing her away, it was better to let Yu He look at him. Thinking of her words just now, Xiao Hong was both angry and amused. "Why are you so naughty?" Gu Jiao was addicted to acting. She showed an exaggerated expression and said, "Man, you should put out the fire you started." Xiao Hong, Gu Jiao had a small notebook, and she wrote down one stroke after another. Xiao Hong didn't have a notebook, but he remembered everything. Every word she said had to be fulfilled. She even had to calculate the interest, the kind where interest would compound. Gu Jiao did not know that her husband had turned into a big bad wolf, thinking that one day he would eat her up. After drinking the medicine, Gu Jiao felt much more energetic. Her legs were not as sore as before, and she was able to walk a few steps. Xiao Hong felt sorry for her and brought a wheelchair over for her. "Sit on this," Xiao Hong said. Gu Jiao thought for a moment and sat on it. It was her first time sitting on it, so it was strange. "Where are you going?" "I'll push." Before he could finish his words, Xiao Hong saw someone using a big bear paw wrapped in gauze to push the wheelchair and race down the corridor. Xiao Hong. Gu Jiao raced all the way to the courtyard. The courtyard was full of grass, so it was not easy for the wheelchair to move. The horse king ran over and looked at Gu Jiao curiously. "Push me over," Gu Jiao said to the horse king. The horse king went behind Gu Jiao, put its head on the back of the wheelchair, and pushed Gu Jiao in front of the Black Wind King. Gu Jiao looked up and stretched out her hand. "Boss." The Black Wind King raised one of his hooves. One person and one horse friend shook hands. Hooves. Both the Black Wind King and Gu Jiao needed to rest. The Black Wind King obediently stayed in the courtyard, but Gu Jiao was not so obedient. She used the reins to tie the horse king. She didn't have a sled dog, but she had a wheelchair horse. The horse king pulled Gu Jiao and ran around the state teacher palace. Half an hour later, the state teacher palace's wheelchair was broken. One person and one horse sat on the garden path. Next to them was the broken wheelchair, and one of the wheels was missing. One person and one horse were covered in grass, but their expressions were the same, innocent. When Yi Qing rushed over with the new wheelchair, seeing the mess, he wanted to say something. Gu Jiao complained first. "The quality of your state teacher palace's wheelchair is not good. It needs to be improved in the future." Yi Qing heard from Yu He that young master Xiao woke up, so he came over for his master to see how he was recovering and whether there were any side effects. But then he saw someone crazily racing around the state teacher palace. He couldn't even stop him. Then he heard a loud noise. Yi Qing helped Gu Jiao back to the new wheelchair. Gu Jiao looked at the horse king. The horse king suddenly became energetic. Yi Qing's eyelids fiercely twitched. "Young Master Xiao, you need to rest more, you can't walk around." Gu Jiao, oh, she didn't plan on not walking around. At this time, the Black Wind King slowly walked over and took the horse king away. The horse king didn't want to leave, but the 2.5-year-old horse king couldn't beat the Black Wind King. With one of the two troublemakers finally gone, Yi Qing was secretly relieved. Speaking of which, he didn't know young Master Xiao was so naughty before. Sure enough, people can't stay idle. Yi Qing went behind Gu Jiao, pushed the wheelchair with both hands, and said to Gu Jiao, "I'll send young Master Xiao back to the Qilin Palace." Gu Jiao hurriedly said, "Wait, I'm not going back to the Qilin Palace yet." "Where is your master?" Yi Qing truthfully said, "Master is in the purple bamboo forest." Gu Jiao, take me to your master. Master may not necessarily see you. He's busy right now. Forget it, I'll send you to the purple bamboo forest first, so you and Lil Shi don't get together and cause trouble. Yi Qing pushed Gu Jiao in the direction of the purple bamboo forest. Gu Jiao raised her hand to cover her eyes. "Is your eyes uncomfortable?" Yi Qing noticed her movements. Gu Jiao said, "Under the strong light for too long, it's a bit prickly." Yi Qing called out to a passing disciple, "Senior brother." The disciple respectfully saluted. "Go get an umbrella." Yi Qing ordered. Yes. The disciple quickly went to the nearest courtyard to get an umbrella. "Senior brother, here." Yi Qing took the umbrella, opened it, and held it with one hand and pushed the wheelchair with the other. He had martial arts, so pushing with one hand wasn't hard at all. Gu Jiao secretly sighed. Yi Qing was quite considerate and good-looking. Did he have a girlfriend? Should I introduce one? The two entered the purple bamboo forest. The disciple in the small bamboo house was currently sweeping the front yard. The front yard seemed to have an endless amount of fallen leaves. Every time Gu Jiao came, she would see this disciple sweeping the yard. Senior brother. The disciple saw Yi Qing put down the broom and respectfully saluted. Then he also greeted Gu Jiao. Young Master Xiao, is Master done? Yi Qing asked. Not yet. The disciple said. Yi Qing hesitated, but still said to the disciple, Go tell her that young Master Xiao is here. Yes. The disciple put down the broom, walked up the steps, took off his shoes, opened the half curtain, and entered the house. Not long after, the disciple came out and respectfully said, Master invites young Master Xiao in. Yi Qing deeply looked at Gu Jiao. Coincidentally, Gu Jiao also looked back at him. For eyes met, Gu Jiao asked puzzledly, Why are you looking at me like that? Yi Qing said, You are the first to make Master break the rules again and again. Gu Jiao touched her chin. That's because your Master and I both came from another time and space, so we can be considered half of the same hometown. Yi Qing pushed the wheelchair into the yard, and the disciple laid a wooden board on the steps to facilitate the wheelchair. The state preceptor was not in the central room. Come in. The state preceptor's voice came from the study. Yi Qing pushed the person into the study and said to the state preceptor who was organizing the treasure, Master, disciple will leave first. On. The state preceptor faintly replied. Yi Qing turned and left the house. The study was similar to what Gu Jiao saw last time. Children's toys, rolled-up portraits, polished clay figurines. The state preceptor was currently wiping a little person on a clay figurine. The one sitting alone in a row seemed to have a very different status. The relationship between people was always progressing in getting along. There were some things that Gu Jiao would not ask before, but now she asked smoothly, Are these three little people you, Shen Yuanli, and the state preceptor? No. The state preceptor said. Huh? Gu Jiao looked at him in surprise. The state preceptor stopped wiping the clay figurine and said, There is no state preceptor. Oh, then there are you and Shen Yuanli. Gu Jiao looked at the little clay figurine and said, I am very curious. Who is the person who can sit with you and Shen Yuanli? It seems that his status is very different. A very important person, a teacher, and a friend. The state preceptor said. Gu Jiao raised her eyebrows. The evaluation was a bit high. The state preceptor put the clay figurine back on the shelf and put down the rag in his hand. He turned and looked at Gu Jiao. You seem to be recovering well. Gu Jiao said, It's okay, my legs are a bit weak, my eyes are a bit sensitive to light, and I can't use my hands. Other than that, I am fine. The state preceptor nodded. These will slowly recover, provided that you stay in the house and don't run around. It seemed that the state preceptor had also heard the news of someone racing in the state preceptor hall. Gu Jiao decisively changed the topic. I came here today to talk to you about something. Speak. The state preceptor said. Gu Jiao said seriously, It is about what you promised me last time. You said that as long as I win the Black Wind Cavalry, you will tell me the whole truth. It is time for you to fulfill your promise. The state preceptor picked up a scroll and slowly opened it. It was a portrait of Jing Yining. He looked at the portrait and said, Last time you asked me what my relationship with Jing Yining was. But I think that you did your best not just to know my relationship with Jing Yining. You want to know more about Jing Yining. Gu Jiao also glanced at the portrait. That's right, I am very curious about Jing Yining. The state preceptor raised his eyes and looked at her with a complicated expression. Have you ever thought about why you are curious about a stranger? This question stunned Gu Jiao. Yes, why does she like Jing Yining? The state preceptor said, You are Jing Yining. Gu Jiao was slightly stunned. The state preceptor did not keep her in suspense and did not beat around the bush. He simply put the facts in front of her. You are Jing Yining, and Jing Yining is you. Gu Jiao blinked and said, How is that possible? The state preceptor put the portrait back and said, Think about your medicine box and your experience. What is impossible? Gu Jiao was silent. The medicine box did have the ability to tear time and space. As for whether she was Jing Yinyin or herself in her previous life, there was no doubt about the answer. She got the medicine box during a mission in her previous life. It should have belonged to her godfather, but he said that the box was too ugly and he didn't want it, so he gave it to her. Gu Jiao thought for a while and said, "That's still not right. If I am Jing Yinyin, why don't I have any memories of her?" The state preceptor said, "Your brain waves were damaged when you traveled through time and space, which affected your memories." The state preceptor continued, "Xian Yuanzi was poisoned when she was pregnant. It was a very powerful poison that could kill both a person and a fetus. I used many methods to detoxify Xian Yuanzi. Unfortunately, the mother's poison was detoxified, but the fetus poison was ineffective. The fetus died when it was born. But 2 hours later, something incredible happened. The fetus miraculously came back to life. The fetus that came back to life was me." Gu Jiao looked at the state preceptor. "How did you recognize me?" The state preceptor said concisely, "The medicine box, medical skills, habit." Gu Jiao rubbed her chin. The state preceptor looked at her in confusion. "What's with your reaction? Why are you so calm?" Gu Jiao spread her hands. "Should I be surprised? Oh my God, I'm still Jing Yinyin. I traveled through time more than once." The state preceptor face-bombed. "Can you put away your exaggerated acting skills? I can't look at it anymore." Gu Jiao pushed the wheelchair to the state preceptor, reached out her big bare paw, and opened the painting on her lap. She looked at the little baby girl in the painting and raised her eyebrows. I was wondering why she was so cute. The state preceptor, Gu Jiao. "Okay, you've given me the answer. I'm going back." The state preceptor wanted to say something but stopped. Gu Jiao turned the wheelchair and walked out of the small bamboo house. Her face darkened. How could she not be shocked? But she couldn't show any emotion in front of a state preceptor. After all, he was a guy who stabbed the Xianyuan family in the back. She couldn't completely trust him. What the hell is going on? She was actually Jing Yinyin. She had no memory of this at all. Could it be that guy was lying to her? Digression. It's another day of early chapters. Little cuties, please vote. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster. Millions of novels are free to read. There are novels with connotations that can't be found on the internet here. https://www.zhbqg.com/8964/2_89642826/10651650. HTML Genius remembered the website address www.zhbqg.com. Biku Go mobile reading website zhbqg.com. Chapter 768. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. The novel will be updated even faster. Millions of novels will be read for free. There are all kinds of novels that can't be found online. It's not impossible. He put all kinds of things of Jing Yinyin in the study and pretended to be very concerned about Jing Yinyin. Then, he tricked her by telling her that she was Jing Yinyin. He used this to win her over and make her work for the state preceptor hall. This guess is very reasonable. Moreover, that guy was obviously holding back. He still had things he didn't say. Whether she was Jing Yinyin or not, she would verify it herself. She didn't have to believe him just because he said it. It wasn't because she didn't want to guard against him that she didn't believe a word he said. The disciple of the small bamboo house wanted to send Gu Jiao off, but Gu Jiao refused. She wanted to be alone. When she pushed the wheelchair out of the purple bamboo forest with her clumsy bare paws, Xiaoheng, who had been waiting outside for a long time, quickly walked over. "I'll do it," Xiaoheng said. "Oh." Gu Jiao let go of the wheelchair and put her bare paws on her lap. She was thinking about something when she came out and forgot to take an umbrella. The sun was so strong that it hurt her eyes. Suddenly, the light above her head dimmed. Xiaoheng opened an oil paper umbrella over her head. Xiaoheng said softly, "Master's wife said that your eyes might be a little afraid of light these days." Gu Jiao's heart warmed. Her husband was so considerate. She reached for the umbrella. "I'll do it myself. You can push the wheelchair." Xiaoheng rejected her hand. "I still have this bit of strength." Gu Jiao thought of the young and powerful body she felt when she pressed down on him. It was indeed not as thin as it was before. "Did you secretly train behind my back?" Not only did he have abs, but he also had small pecs. There were also smooth lines on his arms. They weren't exaggerated and were just tight. Xiaoheng didn't even lift his eyelids. He was calm and didn't seem to use any strength. "How is that possible? I don't even have enough time to study." The wheelchair was really heavy. It was indeed strenuous to use one hand. "But I can't let my wife know that I can't do it. A man can't not do it. From tonight onwards, I'll have an extra hour of training every night." Xiaoheng used all his strength to push Gu Jiao back to the Qilin Hall. Just as he reached the entrance, he ran into Duke Nguo and Second Master Jing, who were coming out from inside. While Gu Jiao was unconscious, Nguogong came to visit her every day. The fact that Gu Jiao was his adopted son had long been known to everybody, so he didn't have to hide it. Besides, he could also visit the crown princess in passing, but he had to be more cautious. After all, he and the crown princess were the remnants of the Xianyuan family. He had just finished greeting the crown princess when he heard that Gu Jiao had woken up and was out for a walk. He couldn't wait to come over and look for her. His luck was pretty good. Second Master Jing said in astonishment, "You guys are back? My big brother is just about to look for Lulang." Lulang, why are you in a wheelchair?" Gu Jiao said, Xiaoheng was afraid that she would say something vicious again. So he hurriedly said, "Lulang just woke up. His body is still very weak. In addition, the weather is so hot. It's easy to get heat stroke if you walk too much." "That's true." Second Master Jing accepted this explanation. Duke Ngu's anxious gaze fell on Gu Jiao. He dipped his fingertips into the wet cloth on the armrest and wrote on it, "How do you feel?" Second Master Jing looked at Duke Ngu's words and said to Gu Jiao, "My big brother is asking how you feel?" Gu Jiao said, "I'm pretty good." Duke Ngu continued to write, "Do your eyes still hurt?" It still hurt a little, but Gu Jiao didn't want to worry Duke Ngu, so she said, "It doesn't hurt anymore. Let's go inside and talk." Xiaoheng said, "It's hot here." The few of them went to Gu Jiao's room. Xiaoheng could tell that Gu Jiao had something to say to Duke Ngu. He could be jealous of small things, but when it came to big things, he wouldn't pester endlessly. He said to Second Master Jing, "Little uncle, I have some books here. I need to go to the library. Can you accompany me?" Second Master Jing looked at the scorching sun that could melt people. He coughed lightly and said, "I want to accompany Big Brother." Duke Ngu, "No, you don't want to." In the end, Second Master Jing was dragged away by Xiaoheng. Xiaoheng really borrowed a lot of books from the library. It was enough for Second Master Jing to carry them several times. "Why do I have to carry them?" Second Master Jing looked at Xiaoheng, who was empty-handed with a face full of resentment. Xiaoheng sighed, I'm a sickly person. I don't even have the strength to truss a chicken. How can I be as mighty and majestic as little uncle? Not to mention moving a few books. You can even move a mountain if you ask you to." Second Master Jing, "You're quite realistic." Xiaoheng. After Xiaoheng and Second Master Jing left, only Gu Jiao and Duke Ngu were left in the room. Originally, little Jing Kong was there, but before Xiaoheng went to find Gu Jiao, he took the sleeping little guy to Shang Wanyan's place. The afternoon wind didn't have a trace of coolness. The entire Qilin Hall was like a big steamer under the scorching sun. Ice cubes in the room didn't help. But magically, the two's hearts were very calm. This was a very comfortable way to get along. In order to facilitate the two's communication, Gu Jiao's wheelchair was next to Duke Nguo's right side. She could clearly see what Duke Nguo wrote. Dukengwa dipped his fingertips in water and wrote, "You seem to have something to say to me." Gu Jiao didn't deny it. She just decided to investigate Jing Yinin's matter, and Dukengwa came to her. She shouldn't miss this opportunity. She turned her head to look at Dukengwa's handsome side face and asked, "Can you tell me about Jing Yinin?" Dukengwa couldn't move his body, but he could blink his eyes. Gu Jiao saw his eyelashes tremble slightly. He should be a little surprised. But even if he was surprised, he didn't ask Gu Jiao, "Why did you suddenly ask about Yinin?" He trusted Gu Jiao without reservation. He was willing to satisfy all her curiosity and didn't question whether she had other purposes. He wrote, "What do you want to know about Yinin?" A father's longing for his child was infinite. If it was about Yinin, he could talk about it for 3 days and 3 nights without any details. Yes, where should I start to understand? First, IQ. Is Yinin smart? Gu Jiao asked. Of course. Dukengwa wrote while showing an incomparably proud look, "Yinin is the smartest child in the world." Nonsense. Second Master Jing's head suddenly grew out of the window. This was a guy who was lazy halfway through moving books and came back. Yinin is 2 years old and still can't speak. So stupid. Dukengwa was so angry that his whole body trembled. He wrote in a mighty and domineering manner, "Yinin could say Mom when she was 1 year, 7 months, and 13 days. Gu Jiao, sure enough, beauty was in the eye of the beholder, and genius was in the eyes of the parents. Dukengwa continued to write, "Don't listen to him. Yinin is very smart. It's just that she learned it late. After she learned it, she could recite a lot of poems. No child her age could recite more than her." So, was this a competition? This didn't seem like something she would do. She hated reciting poems so much. Even if she remembered them, she wouldn't recite them. Gu Jiao imagined herself, who had the intelligence of an adult, shaking her head and competing with a row of little kids in reciting poems in a childish voice. She was so shocked that her body trembled. This was definitely not her. "Yinin, is she close to your parents?" Gu Jiao unconsciously omitted Jing Yinin's surname. Very close. When Dukengwa mentioned his daughter, his eyes were gentle and doting. "She's very clingy to me and her mother. She follows us everywhere. When we let her sleep by herself, she won't. She always hugs her little pillow and sneaks into our bed in the middle of the night." Gu Jiao also imagined herself saying, "My bed says it doesn't want to sleep with me today." Then she ran to Dukengwa and his wife's room and threw her chubby self onto their bed. This kind of childish behavior couldn't be her. Gu Jiao cleared her throat. She doesn't like to talk much, right? She also rarely calls her parents. Dukengwa wrote, "No, Yinin likes to talk a lot. She always talks about her parents. Mommy, Dad, hug. Yinin doesn't want to sleep yet. She needs a kiss before she can sleep. But Yinin is so cute. Who can bear to reject her?" It was cute and cute, tilting its head to one side. Gu Jiao had goosebumps. Why was the image in her mind so clear? She was just imagining it. There was no need to be so clear, right? Dukengwa wrote on the armrest, "Yinin's mother and I always felt that having Yinin was the greatest gift from the heavens." Gu Jiao looked at the words on the armrest and suddenly fell silent. Being loved by Dukengwa and Xin Yuanzi while growing up must be a very happy thing. Surname Gu. Take your daughter away. I don't want to see her again. Mom, I don't want you anymore. Don't call me Mom anymore. Mom, I'll be good. I won't cry. I won't eat. Open the door. Mom, I'm so cold. It's so dark here. I'm scared. Mom, this was her childhood. This was a night that would never be redeemed. Digression. Remember to vote for the monthly ticket. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with connotations that can't be found online are all available here. https://www.zhhbqg com/8964_89642826/106514760. HTML Genius, memorize this website's address in 1 second. www.zhhbqg.com Bikugo Mobile Reading Website. zhhbqg.com. Chapter 769. The latest chapter of this book isn't finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with connotations that can't be found online are all available here. When Xiaohong and Second Master Jing returned all the books and returned to Qilin Hall, Duke and Gu Jiao's conversation was about to end. Second Madam had been unwell for the past few days, so Second Master Jing had to return early. He pushed his eldest brother to bid farewell to Xiaohong and Gu Jiao. In the corridor, Xiaohong watched the two brothers leave and sighed. Although they aren't born from the same mother, the relationship between the two brothers is still pretty good. Second Master Jing wasn't scheming, and the wife he married was also gentle and virtuous. Duke could be considered lucky to have such a younger brother and younger sister. Of course, meeting such a magnanimous older brother like Duke was also the young couple's fortune. A united family was actually more precious than any glory, splendor, wealth, and rank. Xiaohong saw that Gu Jiao didn't say anything, so he walked into the room and saw Gu Jiao sitting in the wheelchair, quietly staring at the scene in the courtyard in a daze. Xiaohong took an orange from the fruit bowl on the table and sat down on the stool beside her. "What are you thinking about?" He peeled the orange as he asked. "I'm thinking about who I am," Gu Jiao said. Xiaohong already knew that Gu Jiao wasn't the former Gu Jiao's mother. She came from a very distant place, but she never had such doubts before. "Why are you suddenly asking this? Did the state preceptor say something to you?" he asked. She felt something was wrong when she came back from seeing the state preceptor. Afterwards, she wanted to talk to Duke alone. Combined with her question, Xiaohong guessed that the state preceptor said something to her. Perhaps it was related to her origin. Gu Jiao was silent. Xiaohong didn't force her. He smiled and handed the peeled orange to her. "Actually, it's not important who you used to be. What's important is that you are you." Gu Jiao was slightly stunned. "Me, am I?" "Yes." Xiaohong looked at her seriously with all his trust. "Name, identity, appearance, body, they're all fabricated." As he spoke, he gently tapped her forehead with his slender finger. "This place is the one and only reality." Gu Jiao looked at him strangely. "You sound more and more like an enlightened monk. If you think about it carefully, there's a bit of Zen in it." Xiaohong sighed. "Sigh, there's nothing we can do. Who asked us to raise a little monk at home? This is what they call one is marked by the company one keeps." Gu Jiao was amused by him and ate a piece of the orange that he handed over. "Is it delicious?" Xiaohong asked. Gu Jiao nodded. "Delicious." Xiaohong understood that she still had something to say. She was not a wishy-washy person. Something that could make her take the time to consider her words was definitely not a small matter. He wasn't impatient, he didn't rush her, and he didn't walk away. He just silently accompanied her. It was just like how she had accompanied him on the road to seeing the light of day again. There was no need to say more about the trust and tacit understanding between them. After Gu Jiao finished eating the last piece of orange, Xiaohong considerately handed her a clean handkerchief. She took it and wiped her fingers. Then she said, "I still have something to tell you. In fact, this is the main point I want to talk about." Most people would subconsciously distance themselves from such a serious situation. Xiaohong did not do this. Instead, he moved the stool closer to her. Looking at her delicate profile, he said, "Okay, I'm all ears." Gu Jiao glanced at him and said, "It's not a good thing. It's fine if you're not all ears." Xiaohong smiled. "Then I still want to listen." Gu Jiao paused and asked, "Do you know the crimes of the Xinyuan family?" Xiaohong nodded. I saw the files of the Shenyuan family in the library. It recorded dozens of serious crimes, colluding with the Great Jin dynasty, betraying the country, ceding border cities, killing loyal people, embezzling money, privately making dragon robes, starting a rebellion. The crimes of the Shenyuan family are too numerous to be recorded. Gu Jiao said, "What I'm about to say is related to the Shenyuan family." Xiao Heng looked at her gently, indicating that she could rest assured and continue. Gu Jiao said seriously, "I want to redress the Shenyuan family. I want to defeat the emperor of the Yan dynasty." This was not a decision she made after learning about Jing Yinin's background. It was a seed that had sprouted in her heart since a long time ago. She said to Xiao Heng, "You don't have to join. The emperor of the Yan dynasty has no intention to hurt you. Even if your identity is exposed, you are still his real grandson. He will not hurt you, nor will he hurt Shangguan Yan. Your real enemies are only the crown prince and those who covet the throne." Those people were much easier to deal with than the emperor. The emperor was too powerful. Overthrowing his imperial power was something that even the Shenyuan family, who had millions of soldiers, couldn't do. It was too difficult for Gu Jiao to deal with him. There was almost no chance of winning. Gu Jiao could die by herself, but she didn't want to drag Xiao Heng down with her. "Haven't we been doing this all the time?" Xiao Heng held her hand and looked deeply into her eyes with a trace of astonishment. "Sending the little monk home is not your wish alone. You're not the only one who has the privilege of risking your life for the person you love. Only you can risk your life for me, but I can't go through the fire for you." When he finished speaking, his eyes were deep, as if he was hurt by her. "We are husband and wife. Do you want to leave me alone?" Gu Jiao was amenable to coaxing, but not coercion. She had no resistance to this little puppy's eyes. She sat in the wheelchair in a daze and even forgot what she was going to say next. Xiao Heng sighed bitterly. "Do you have no confidence in me or in our relationship?" Gu Jiao. This debate was not Gu Jiao's strong point. Fighting was her strong point. Even if she had 10 mouths, she still couldn't win against Xiao Heng. Gu Jiao scratched her fingers. "But he is your grandfather." Xiao Heng said, "The grandfather who slaughtered my grandmother's whole family." "That's right." Gu Jiao asked, "You really won't regret it?" "No." Xiao Heng looked at her and gently pinched her fingertips. "So now, can I join you, my commander-in-chief?" What kind of flirtatious tone is this? Why did the style of a serious conversation become a bit strange at the end? Gu Jiao looked at the big bear paw and rolled her eyes. "I have to think about it and review your qualifications as an ally." "And me?" Shangguan Yin walked in with a crutch. Xiao Heng was planning to use his handsome man trick, but after being scared by Shangguan Yin, he was so shocked that he directly jumped up from the stool. "Mother, when did you come over? Why didn't I hear any sound?" "I didn't hear anything, and I didn't see you do anything. I thought you knew I was coming?" Shangguan Yin whispered and came to the front of the two. She looked at Gu Jiao condescendingly and said, "I also want to join." Gu Jiao looked at her. "Are you sure?" Shangguan Yin looked at the blue sky outside the window. "I can't be more sure. 15 years ago, I didn't have the courage I have today. After losing the Shenyuan family, my mother, and the position of the crown princess, I was like a bird stripped of its wings. I no longer had the will to fly. I wholeheartedly hoped that my 2 children could live well, but after seeing you, I found out that I was wrong, very wrong. It's not enough for a person to live. He has to live openly and above board. He doesn't have to hide and live with other people's identities. I have failed, but I hope it's not too late for me to repent. Even if she had to give up her self-esteem and destroy her pride, she would still do what she didn't have the courage to do 15 years ago." "Girl, you are very powerful," Shangguan Yan said to Gu Jiao. "I know," Gu Jiao said. Shangguan Yan's mouth twitched. "I am already very narcissistic, but I didn't expect this girl to be even more narcissistic than me." At such a touching moment, such an unforgettable speech, my tears came out, but this girl held them back. Did my uncle and the others also feel this way before? The heavens will reincarnate. Who will be spared? Shangguan Yin looked at the two. Do you have any plans? I suggest you start with the military power. 50,000 Black Wind Cavalry is far from enough. Gu Jiao said to her. 50,000 Black Wind Cavalry is just the beginning. I will take back all the military power of the Xianyuan family. Although Shangguan Yin was holding a crutch, her royal aura couldn't be underestimated. She nodded domineeringly. Very good, I'll wait and see. Then, you plan your plan, and I will deploy mine. Xiao Heng asked, what is mother going to do? Shangguan Yin clenched her crutch, her eyes were cold. Take back the position of the crown princess. At night, the family had dinner in Shangguan Yan's room. Little Jing Kong was cuddled in Gu Jiao's arms for a while, and then went to the yard to play with little Shi. He brought the decoction to Gu Jiao. Gu Jiao looked at the decoction thoughtfully. What's wrong? Xiao Heng asked. Gu Jiao frowned and said, I suddenly have a doubt. Xiao Heng was puzzled. What doubt? Gu Jiao said, the State Preceptor Hall provides medical treatment for all the children who participated in the selection. Fifth Master Han was seriously injured. Why wasn't he sent to the State Preceptor Hall? He was directly taken back by the Han family. Is he seriously injured? Xiao Heng didn't know about this. The Han family didn't announce Fifth Master Han's injury to the public, so he thought Fifth Master Han was only slightly injured. Gu Jiao recalled, I injured him with my own hands. At that time, he didn't even have the strength to stand up. With such a serious injury, it would be safer for him to come to the State Preceptor Hall for treatment, right? Xiao Heng frowned. If that's the case, then things are a bit strange. Gu Jiao touched her chin. Han Se must have a secret. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with connotations that can't be found on the internet are all available here. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642_896426/1064966627. HTML Genius memorized this site's address. www.zhbqg.com Biku Go mobile version reading website. zhbqg.com. Chapter 770. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with connotations that can't be found online are available here. The Han family. As night fell, the servants lit up the candles in Fifth Master Han's courtyard. The lanterns in the corridor were also hung up one by one. Fifth Master Han was meditating in the room. Old Master Han was sitting in the hall beside him. Han Lei and Third Master Han were also there. Han Lei had his hands behind his back and was pacing around the room with a frown. Third Master Han said helplessly, Big brother, can you stop pacing around? You're making me dizzy. Han Lei said rudely, if you don't want to stay here, go back. Third Master Han glanced at the old man who had his hands on his cane and his eyes closed. He muttered to himself, I want to go back, but if I don't care about Fifth Master, won't the old man strangle me to death? After an unknown amount of time, a long breathing sound finally came from Fifth Grandfather Han's room. Han Lei's eyes lit up. It's Fifth Master. Old Master Han slowly opened his old and sharp eyes and said in a deep voice, You two go next door and check on the situation. Yes, father, Han Lei replied. Han Lei and the sloppy Third Master Han went next door. There was no one else in the room except for Fifth Master Han, who was meditating and healing. In the past few days, Gu Jiao wasn't the only one recuperating. Fifth Master Han had also walked around the gates of hell. Han Lei quickly walked to the bed and asked with concern, Fifth brother, how are you feeling? Fifth Master Han took a deep breath and slowly exhaled. He opened his eyes and said, Much better. Han Lei was still a little worried. He looked him up and down and said, "Are you really not feeling uncomfortable? Do you want to call a doctor to take a look?" Fifth Master Han said lightly, "Big Brother knows my situation very well. There's no need to call a doctor. It's useless." Han Lei was speechless. Yes, Han Si's situation was indeed incurable, but there was no need for treatment. He recovered very quickly. This matter started when Han Si was poisoned when he was young. That year, Han Si was only 11 or 12 years old. He went out hunting with the elders of the clan and got separated from his family on the way. He was accidentally poisoned. At that time, many of the Han family's guards were poisoned with him. When the elders of the clan came to find them, the guards had all died from the poison. Only Han Si was lucky enough to survive. The elders asked Han Si what happened and why she was poisoned. Han Si remained silent. Since then, Han Si's body had undergone an incredible change. First, his punches and kicks became faster, and then his internal strength became more violent. A martial artist's inner strength was measured by years, but Han Si's inner strength increased every month. All of a sudden, he became the most talented youth in the clan. Logically speaking, such good news should be made known to the world. However, just as the Han family was planning to do so, they unexpectedly discovered a strand of white hair on Han Si's head. They had only seen young people with white hair in novels. They had never thought that it would happen to Han Si. Han Si's sudden talent came at the cost of overdrawing her lifespan. This strange thing happened after Han Si was poisoned, and the Han family guessed that it was the aftereffects of the poison. The stronger Han Si was, the faster she would age. In order to save her life, Han Si could only give up on pursuing higher martial arts realms. The path of a genius stopped here. Even so, Han Si still aged faster than a normal person. If it weren't for Han Ye's accident, the Han family wouldn't have let Han Si take action. Fifth brother. Third Master Han looked at Han Si's hair and widened his eyes in a daze. Han Si originally only had a layer of silver hair on the surface, but now the inside was much whiter. Fifth Master Han said indifferently, "I'm fine, third brother." Ah. Third Master Han fell silent. Han Lei voiced his doubts. "Speaking of which, fifth brother, how did you lose to Xiao Lulang?" Han Si paused and told him the truth. "I was distracted during the fight." Han Lei was shocked. It's taboo to be distracted. Fifth brother, how could you make such a low-level mistake during the fight? Han Si was silent for a moment before saying indifferently, "I just thought of someone." "Is it that person from the Xianyuan family?" "Fifth brother, you." Han Lei didn't finish his sentence. Han Lei sighed and said earnestly, "Fifth brother, you should let it go. All these years, third brother and I have been hiding things about you from father for you. But don't always make things difficult for us." Han Si said in a low voice, "Thank you, big brother and third brother." Third Master Han waved his hand. "Brothers don't talk about this. It's big brother who doesn't want to hide it anymore. I didn't say anything. I can hide it for a lifetime." Han Lei glared fiercely at this prodigal. Third Master Han shrunk his neck resentfully and didn't dare to say anything else. Han Lei continued to look at Han Si. "But fifth brother, tell big brother the truth. Is Xianyuan Shaolu really dead?" Han Si looked into big brother's scrutinizing eyes and said seriously, "He's dead. I killed him with my own hands." Han Lei smiled embarrassedly. "Big brother isn't suspecting you. Big brother just feels that you were too close to him back then. After the Xianyuan family's incident, you still secretly hid him. If the guards hadn't discovered it in time, our Han family would have been charged with harboring a traitor." Han Si said. "Big brother also saw the corpse. He is indeed dead." Han Lei was frightened by his younger brother's gaze. He smiled and said, "All right, let's not talk about those unlucky things. You should recuperate well. Strictly speaking, this matter isn't your fault. It's that Xiao Lulang who is too cunning. When we find an opportunity in the future, we'll get rid of him. The Black Wind Cavalry will return to our Han family sooner or later." Han Si didn't continue the previous topic. He said, I heard that Qi Xian is dead. At the mention of this, Han Lei became angry. Qi Xian even hid the fact that he went to assassinate Xiao Lulang from me. He almost got into big trouble. It doesn't matter if he's dead, but it won't be good if he implicates our Han family. Han Si didn't understand and asked, how did he die? Han Lei replied, his organs were pierced by a long sword and he died. None of the guards he brought with him survived. They were all killed by the long sword. The coroner estimated that the time of his death was noon that day. Han Si recalled and said, at noon, I was fighting with Taoist Qing Feng. No. What's wrong? Han Lei looked at him. Han Si frowned. At noon, Xiao Lulang should be being chased by Long Outyen. One was Long Outyen, and the other was Qi Xian. How could Xiao Lulang escape unscathed? There's something wrong with Long Outyen. He killed Qi Xian. Han Lei exclaimed, he's from the Crown Prince's residence. Why did the Crown Prince kill Qi Xian? Han Si clenched his fists. Of course the Crown Prince wouldn't kill Qi Xian. Long Outyen is a spy. He purposely got close to the Crown Prince. Brother, quickly inform the Crown Prince to kill Long Outyen. The Crown Prince's residence. Gu Chongqing was playing chess with the Crown Prince in the pavilion. The Crown Prince had just placed a white chess piece when Gu Chongqing's black chess piece caught up and cut off the Crown Prince's path. The Crown Prince was shocked. I didn't expect that not only are you good at martial arts, but you're also so good at chess. I only learned a little from my sister. It's enough to torture you. Are your injuries okay? The Crown Prince asked with concern. It's just a small injury. It's not a problem, Gu Chongqing said. The Crown Prince said regretfully, I thought that with you taking action, you could help the Han family. Who would have thought that Xiao Liulang's luck would be so good? Gu Chongqing said, it's my fault. The Crown Prince shook his head. You can't be blamed for this. Even Han Si lost to Xiao Lulang. I'm afraid it'll be hard for you to gain an advantage over Xiao Lulang. That's right, last time I asked you to investigate the identity of this fake Xiao Lulang. How did it go? Gu Chongqing's expression didn't change as he said, he's very cautious. I didn't find too many useful clues. The Crown Prince frowned. I'm afraid only Nan Gongli knows who this fake Xiao Lulang is. It's a pity that Nan Gongli died. If he didn't die, the fact that his sister was Gu Jiao would have been exposed. It was good that he died. Gu Chongqing calmly said, Your Highness, I can assassinate the deposed Crown Princess and the Imperial eldest grandson to clear the way for Your Highness. I ask Your Highness to allow me to redeem myself. The Crown Prince quickly raised his hand to stop him. Don't. The situation has been too tense recently. Let's wait for this period of time to pass. The two continued to play chess. Suddenly, a guard hurriedly walked over and whispered a few words into the Crown Prince's ear. The Crown Prince frowned and waved his hand to have him withdraw. Then the Crown Prince said to Gu Chongqing, Who else does this prince need to deal with? We'll play another day. After saying this, the Crown Prince brought his servant to the study. Gu Chongqing returned to his own courtyard. Little Nine fluttered his wings and landed on his windowsill. Little Nine had only been brought here once, so he remembered the location. These days, it was inconvenient for him to visit Gu Jiao, so it was Little Nine who sent him messages. He opened the note. It was written in Xiao Heng's handwriting. Seeing that Gu Jiao had woken up and was recovering well, his worried heart relaxed. There were also 2 flower seals on the note. It was obvious that it was stamped by little Jing Kong. This childish little seal appeared on Xiao Heng's serious handwriting. It wasn't hard to imagine an adult and a child arguing endlessly with a sullen face. Gu Chongqing couldn't help but laugh. Dong, dong, dong. There was a heavy knock on the door. It was very urgent. Gu Chongqing clenched his hand and used his internal energy to turn the note into powder. He threw it out the window and said, Come in. With a creak, the door was pushed open. It was the little mute slave from the courtyard who came to deliver dinner. The little mute slave was only 10 years old this year and was still a child. He was accidentally saved by Gu Chongqing from the Crown Prince's residence's steward. Since then, he had been following Gu Chongqing. He put the box of food on the table and anxiously gestured to Gu Chongqing for a while. Gu Chongqing didn't understand. "I taught you how to write. Can you write?" The little mute slave grabbed the writing brush and scratched her head. She racked her brains for a long time before she finally wrote 2 words on the paper that were missing a few strokes. "Danger, danger." Gu Chongqing thought for a moment and asked the little mute slave, "Are you saying that the Crown Prince's residence is in danger?" The little mute slave nodded and anxiously pointed to the door. He anxiously ran a few steps. This time, Gu Chongqing understood. The little mute slave wanted him to quickly escape. Gu Chongqing stood up, grabbed the sword on the table, and rushed out the door. However, as soon as he stepped over the threshold, a long sword with a cold gleam pierced towards him, stabbing into his chest. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels that can't be found on the internet are all here. https://www.zhpqg.com/8964-2_8964-28265/10649565. HTML Genius remembered this site's address in 1 second. www.zhpqg.com Bikuga mobile reading website. zhpqg.com. Chapter 771. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels that can't be found on the internet are all available here. Gu Chongqing's body stiffened as he looked at the shadowy man in front of him in shock. The man was wearing a black robe and a black cloak. His face was hidden in the darkness, only revealing a pair of eyes that were colder than a sword. The man's long sword pierced through Gu Chongqing's chest. Then the man coldly pulled out the long sword, and the blood that splashed out was blocked by his sword. Gu Chongqing was like a puppet that had its strength sucked out as he fell to the ground in a daze. The little mute slave was too scared to move. The man didn't even look at the little mute slave as he ordered the guards behind him. Dispose of the body. Yes, the guards complied. One of them squatted down and reached out to touch Gu Chongqing's neck. He really was dead. The Crown Prince's palace couldn't accommodate such an unlucky thing like a corpse. Several people found a dilapidated cart and threw Gu Chongqing's body onto the cart. The sky that had been hot all day suddenly thundered. It looked like it was going to rain. The guards covered the body with a straw mat and walked out from the back door of the Crown Prince's palace. Lightning flashed and thunder roared in the sky. Along the way, they met many pedestrians who were in a hurry to find shelter from the rain. "Ah, how unlucky! Why is it us again?" One of the guards driving the cart said. Another guard said, "It's not bad to come out for a walk. Don't you feel bored staying in the palace all the time? But we have to go to the mass grave. There are rotten corpses there. Sometimes you can see broken limbs. If you're unlucky, you may come back infected with a bad disease. You're making me scared." After half an hour, several people came to the mass grave that exuded the smell of death and decay. The corpses here were not buried on the spot, but were mostly abandoned. The smell of the breeze was nauseating. The shadows of the trees and the cawing of crows made people feel cold. Quickly throw it back. This place is so *king scary. Then stop here. Don't get too close. The two of them stopped the carriage near the mass grave and jumped off to move Gu Chongqing's body. But when the two of them lifted the straw mat that covered the corpse, they found that the corpse in the car had disappeared. Their expressions changed, and their first reaction was to look under the carriage. The guard asked, "What's going on?" No one was under the carriage. His companion said in fear, I don't know. Could it be a zombie? The guard frowned. Not good. Quickly inform His Highness. Dash, you actually didn't die after being hit by my sword. When the black-robed man heard the report, he glanced at the guard, put down the teacup in his hand, and said to the Crown Prince, This person is a bit interesting. I'll go and catch him. The Crown Prince called out to the black-robed man, Wait, he was hit by Mr. Sword and is severely injured. I don't think he can run far. Just leave the search to the embroidered uniform guards. It's best if you don't expose your identity. The black-robed man said slowly, That's good too. My sword injured his foundation. Even if he luckily escaped, he won't be able to live past tonight. The Crown Prince said, I have to see him die with my own eyes to be at ease. Dash, it's raining again. Gu Jiao pushed the wheelchair to the window and used the hanging rod to hook the support pole of the window. Just as she was about to close the window, a wet figure fell from the sky. His body swayed twice and fell to the ground with a plop. The heavy rain poured down, scattering the pedestrians on the street. The embroidered uniform guards from the Crown Prince's residence, wearing straw capes and bamboo hats, ran wildly in the heavy rain. Whoosh! When they reached the entrance of the State Preceptor's Hall, they pulled on the reins and stopped the galloping horses. The leader of the embroidered uniform guards coldly said, Are you sure it's here? Another embroidered uniform guard said, Yes, sir. I tracked him here and saw him climb over the wall into the State Preceptor's Hall. Sir, should we go in and search? The leader of the embroidered uniform guards looked at the majestic plaque of the State Preceptor's Hall in the heavy rain and sneered. Is the State Preceptor's Hall a place where you can search as you wish? Even Commandant Guan was denied entry when he personally came to search. You and I are just a few embroidered uniform guards. We don't even have the right to enter the State Preceptor's Hall. The embroidered uniform guard asked, Then what should we do? The leader of the embroidered uniform guards frowned and said, The few of you, guard the entrance of the State Preceptor's Hall. Guard the walls well. Once he escapes, capture him immediately. I will inform His Highness. Yes. The leader of the embroidered uniform guards rushed back to the Crown Prince's residence and reported to the Crown Prince about Long Outyin's escape into the State Preceptor's Hall. The Crown Prince was so angry that he slammed his fist on the table. He really knows how to hide. The only place in Shengsheng that could not be searched was the State Preceptor's Hall. Even if Long Outyin hid in the palace, it would not be so troublesome. After all, it was easy to find a reason to search the palace, but not the State Preceptor's Hall. Say that an assassin entered? The State Preceptor's Hall will say that we will find the assassin ourselves, and that there is no need for the Crown Prince to worry. The Crown Prince gritted his teeth and said, He knows too many secrets. We cannot let him fall into the hands of the State Preceptor's Hall. Men, prepare the carriage. I want to go to the State Preceptor's Hall. Half an hour later, the Crown Prince's carriage arrived at the State Preceptor's Hall. Your Highness, the disciple of the State Preceptor's Hall came forward to greet him. The Crown Prince opened the window and said to the disciple, I want to see your State Preceptor. The disciple of the State Preceptor's Hall hurriedly went to inform the Crown Prince. Not long after, the State Preceptor walked out calmly. Yi Qing was beside him holding an umbrella for him. Your Highness, the State Preceptor greeted him calmly. The Crown Prince was still sitting in the carriage. His gaze fell on the State Preceptor's cold face. He had seen the State Preceptor's young appearance. He was a handsome man who was not inferior to the Duke of and time flew by, and years passed. The State Preceptor's face had wrinkles and vicissitudes of life. Rainy days always made people melancholy. Look at what he was thinking. The Crown Prince collected his thoughts and said to the State Preceptor, To be honest, there is a traitor in my residence. My embroidered uniform guards saw him escape into the State Preceptor's Hall. The State Preceptor said, Is that so? Yi Qing, take people to search. See if there is the assassin that your Highness mentioned in the State Preceptor's Hall. Yi Qing, yes. Wait. The Crown Prince said in a deep voice, "I want to search myself." Yi Qing said neither humbly nor overbearingly, "Your Highness, this is the State Preceptor's Hall, not the Crown Prince's palace." The implication was that he did not have the qualifications to search here. The Crown Prince did not look at Yi Qing. He just looked at the State Preceptor with his eyes like torches. "What if I must search today?" The two sides looked at each other. The Crown Prince's eyes burst out with strong, murderous intent. His attitude was very firm. Today he had to search. Even if he did not want to search, he had to search. Even if he had to shed all pretense of cordiality and be scolded by his father for being disrespectful to the State Preceptor, he had to find Long Out Yen. In the end, the State Preceptor gave in. He said, "Yi Qing, take the Crown Prince to search." The Crown Prince said arrogantly, "No need. My people will search by themselves." The Crown Prince walked out of the carriage. The guard on the side opened the umbrella for him. The State Preceptor and Yi Qing moved to the side. The Crown Prince brought the embroidered uniform guards and walked in front of the master and disciple. Gu Chongqing was heavily injured. Normally, there would be bloodstains along the way. However, the rain was too heavy. The traces on the ground had already been washed away by the rain. The Crown Prince's embroidered uniform guards were everywhere. They practically turned the State Preceptor's hall upside down. They even went to the purple bamboo forest and the third floor of the library. The State Preceptor asked, "Your Highness, did you find anything?" The Crown Prince frowned and asked the leader of the embroidered uniform guards in a low voice, "Did he really enter the State Preceptor's hall?" "He did." The leader of the embroidered uniform guard said. At this time, an older and more experienced embroidered uniform guard said, "Your Highness, there is still a place that has not been searched." The Crown Prince said, "Where?" He said, "Qilin Hall. You can't go in." At the entrance of the Qilin Hall, two embroidered uniform guards were stopped by the State Preceptor's hall disciple on duty. The embroidered uniform guards coldly said, "We are under the order of the Crown Prince to search for assassins." The disciple of the State Preceptor Hall said, "We don't have any assassins here. His Highness Zhongsun and the commander are resting. Don't disturb their rest." The embroidered uniform guard sneered, "Ridiculous. A mere imperial grandson dares to stop the Crown Prince's people. A mere dog of the Crown Prince's palace dares to criticize the imperial grandson?" Shang Guanyan's voice came from the back of the hall. Although she was holding a crutch, her eyes were sharp and her aura was fierce. Her whole body was exuding a powerful imperial aura. The candlelight in the hall was dim, only illuminating her slender and straight figure. However, a flash of lightning suddenly flashed across the sky, illuminating the entire State Preceptor's hall. At that moment, everyone saw Shang Guanyan's dignified face. Everyone's heart thumped. They seemed to see the Crown Princess, who was shouting at Xingdu, come back. Shang Guanyan held her crutch and walked out of the ascension ceremony. She came to the door. The powerful Crown Princess aura instantly made people feel the pressure from the soul. The two embroidered uniform guards unconsciously took a step back. "Third sister, long time no see. How have you been?" The Crown Prince came from the back with a cold face. Behind him were more than a dozen embroidered uniform guards. Unlike Shang Guanyan, who was alone. But even so, there was no trace of fear in Shang Guanyan's eyes. Imperial father is not here. There's no need to act like a brother and sister. The Crown Prince smiled sarcastically. "Third sister, you admit it? Your amnesia is fake." Shang Guanyan said without fear, "If you have evidence, then go to the emperor and report me." The Crown Prince smiled and said, "Third sister and I are brothers. How can I do such an unreasonable thing? In fact, if third sister wants to go back to Xingdu, you don't have to go through so much trouble. As long as third sister tells me, I will take third sister back." Shang Guanyan sighed, "Alas, you still like to eat sweet potatoes." The Crown Prince frowned. Before he could react to this sentence, he saw the embroidered uniform guard next to him was holding back his laughter. "What are you laughing at?" The Crown Prince frowned and asked. The embroidered uniform guard whispered, Your Highness, if you eat too much sweet potatoes, you will fart. She is saying that you like to fart. The Crown Prince. After so many years, third sister really hasn't changed at all. She is still so irritating. Shang Guanyan spread out her hands. Unfortunately, you have changed. You have become a lot older. Those who know you say you are my younger brother. Those who don't know you think you are my uncle. The Crown Prince was so angry that he fell backwards. In these years, he has indeed experienced a lot of vicissitudes of life. Unlike Shang Guanyan, who was a salted fish in the imperial tomb, who was carefree, the Crown Prince clenched his fists. Third sister, you don't have to change the topic. Today, I came to catch the assassin. Third sister, you are blocking me. Could it be that third sister is harboring the assassin? Yes, if Long Outyin has nothing to do with the Crown Princess, why would he hide in the State Preceptor's Hall at a critical moment? It turned out to be you, Shang Guanyan. Shang Guanyan's eyes flashed and she bluffed. Do you have evidence? If you don't have evidence, don't slander me. The Crown Prince narrowed his eyes. Do you have a guilty conscience, Shang Guanyan? He coldly said. Today, I came to catch the assassin. I don't have time to quarrel with you. If you don't want to get hurt, you better get out of the way. Shang Guanyan said, What if I don't? The Crown Prince smiled coldly. Then I can only offend you. Someone come. Pull my third sister away. Stop. Xiao Hong shouted. He walked out of the corridor and walked through the lobby to the door. His tall body blocked in front of Shang Guanyan. A disciple of the State Preceptor's Hall pushed Gu Jiao out behind him. The Crown Prince looked at Xiao Hong and then looked at Gu Jiao in the wheelchair. His eyes gradually became cold. Wang Su had already probed. The one who lived in the State Preceptor's Hall was the real imperial grandson. But why did he always feel that something was strange? Xiao Hong faintly glanced at the crowd and said to the Crown Prince, Isn't the Crown Prince's hand stretched too far? My mother was ordered to recuperate in the State Preceptor's Hall. If you dare to let those servants touch my mother with dirty water, you're not afraid that Imperial Grandfather will blame you. The Crown Prince snapped, Shang Guanqing, don't use Imperial Father to suppress me. As the Crown Prince, it's natural for me to catch the assassin. Even the State Preceptor agreed. If you know what's good for you, then obediently get out of the way. Otherwise, I will also arrest you. Xiao Hong didn't show any fear. Then you can try. The Crown Prince narrowed his eyes. Do it. As soon as his voice fell, a genie guard rushed to Xiao Hong's lapel and grabbed it. Gu Jiao in the wheelchair looked cold. She took off the gauze on her right hand and supported herself on the armrest. Like a small cannon, she hit the genie guard. She grabbed the neck of the genie guard and knocked him out of the Qilin Hall. He fiercely fell on the bluestone floor. With a loud bang, the rainwater on the ground splashed 3 feet high. The water droplets could be seen. The man didn't even have the chance to fight back. He spat out a mouthful of blood and fainted on the spot. Everyone was stunned. The heavy rain fell on her body. Her black hair was wet. She was wearing a young man's long gown, but her thin body emitted a terrifying power. She turned her head in the heavy rain and looked at the Crown Prince and the genie guards with a ferocious gaze like a blood wolf. I see. Who dares to touch him? Digression. Do early chapters get monthly votes? The latest chapter of this book isn't finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels that can't be found on the internet are all here. https://www.zhbqg.com/8964-106474343. HTML Genius remembered this site's address in a second. www.zhhbqg.com Bikugo mobile reading website. zhhbqg.com. Chapter 772. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels that can't be found on the internet are all available here. The genie guards subconsciously stepped back. This was an instinctive crisis reaction. They couldn't control it for a while. The crown prince clenched his fists. He had witnessed the boy defeating the Shaolin monks in the boxing match. At that time, the boy was not so powerful. What happened? How did the boy's strength increase so much? Gu Jiao was also surprised. She found out that her strength had recovered a lot. It was almost 50% of her strength in her previous life. It seemed that the fight with Han Yu was not in vain. If there were 6 more genie guards from the crown prince's mansion, she would not be as embarrassed as before. She could defeat them all. The situation is not good. I didn't expect this boy to become so strong. I didn't bring enough people. I can't search, damn it. The crown prince clenched his fists. At this time, Zhang Dequan's voice suddenly came from behind. The emperor has arrived. Imperial father came. The crown prince's face changed. The next second, he secretly rejoiced. Imperial father came at the right time. As long as he said that there was an assassin inside, which may endanger the safety of Shang Guanyan and her son, Imperial father will certainly agree to search. The crown prince gave the genie guard's leader a wink and whispered, "What should we do when we find him?" The genie guard's leader whispered, "I know." The crown prince looked at the direction where the emperor came and continued to whisper, "This is our only chance. If we don't get rid of Long Outyin now, when they transfer him to a safe place and come back to expose us, we will be very passive." The genie guard's leader understood. "Your Highness, don't worry. This subordinate will not let Long Outyin have a chance to speak. When he found Long Outyin, he would kill him with a single slash." The emperor came because of the young princess. The heavy rain couldn't stop the young princess from coming to the state preceptor hall to see her little friend. The palace servants held a big oil paper umbrella for the emperor. The young princess was in the emperor's arms. Her small body was hidden under the cloak. "Have we arrived?" Her adorable little head popped out from under the cloak. The monarch's face darkened when he saw the scene. He did not let the young princess see him and only handed her to Zhang Dequan. "Bring the young princess in." Yes. Zhang Dequan carried the young princess and her cloak over. "Where are we going? Where are we going?" the young princess asked as she nestled in the cloak. Zhang Dequan's expression was solemn, but his tone carried a smile as if nothing had happened. "Let's go and find the little commandery princess's schoolmate." The young princess was obedient. Okay. Zhang Dequan carried the young princess to Xiaoheng and little Jingkong's room. As the savior of the young commandery princess, little Jingkong also had the right to recuperate in the state preceptor's hall. Everyone in the state preceptor's hall knew that he and the emperor's grandson hit it off and was willing to let him accompany him. In the house, the 2 little fellows met. They faced each other and flapped their little arms, like 2 little chicks that had just come out of the nest. "Light Shui, you're here?" "Yes, Jingkong, I'm here." Zhang Dequan gently closed the door from the inside. Outside the Qilin Hall, the monarch glanced at the crown prince and Xiaoheng, who were at loggerheads. He asked in a deep voice, "What are you doing now?" Xiaoheng coughed weakly. He was no longer as overbearing as he was in front of the crown prince. He felt wronged and weak as he said, "Imperial grandfather, the crown prince bullied me." The crown prince almost choked to death. He finally understood what was wrong with his nephew just now. Before the monarch came, he was so energetic and arrogant. The crown prince gritted his teeth. "Weren't you very energetic just now? Why did you start to look so sick when Imperial father came?" Xiaoheng did not deny it. "Isn't it because there was no one to support me and my mother just now? If I didn't try my best to stay strong, would I have to watch you bully my mother?" The corner of the crown prince's mouth twitched. What a shameless person. Xiaoheng continued to complain. He looked at the genie guard who was beaten by Gu Jiao until he vomited blood and fainted. He pitifully said, "Thanks to Xiao Gongzi's timely action, otherwise, the person lying there now would be me." Xiao Gongzi, don't stand in the rain. You still have injuries on your body. Gu Jiao walked to Xiao Heng's side. The monarch looked at the genie guard, who fainted, and his eyes turned cold. He said to the crown prince, "Your genie guard attacked Qing." The crown prince hurriedly cupped his hands and saluted. "Imperial father, please listen to this son's explanation. Damn it, how come this kid's ability to complain became so powerful?" The monarch looked at the pale Xiao Heng, and then looked at Shangguan Yen, who was holding a crutch. He said in a cold tone, "Good, I'll listen to your explanation." The crown prince secretly felt bad. If it was Shangguan Yen who was attacked just now, it would be fine. Although it was rude, Shangguan Yen was a concubine after all. But he made people attack the imperial grandson. The monarch didn't oppose the imperial grandson. The crown prince had a headache. But he can't let go of his only chance. He can only take the risk. He said, "Imperial father, there was a traitor in this son's mansion. He tried to assassinate this son, but was injured by this son's bodyguard. The bodyguard tracked him and found that he fled to the state preceptor hall. This son insisted on searching because I was worried that the traitor would hurt third sister and Qing. But I don't know why third sister and Qing tried to stop me. Did you?" The monarch looked at Xiao Heng and Shangguan Yen with a heavy gaze. The mother and son shook their heads together. "No." The crown prince. Shangguan Yen sighed and said, "So it turned out to be searching for an assassin. Can't the crown prince talk nicely? You just came up and started to attack. Those who know will say that you're here to catch the assassin, but those who don't know will think that you're here to catch me. Please." After saying that, she stepped aside to make a path. Xiao Heng and Gu Jiao also stepped aside. The crown prince was almost angered to death by this mother and son who inverted black and white. However, why did Shangguan Yen suddenly dare to let him search? Has Long Outyin been transferred? Impossible. His people are guarding the front and back door of the Qilin Hall. Long Outyin must still be in the Qilin Hall. The crown prince led the genie guards into the hall to search. When he brushed past Shangguan Yen lightly said, "Crown prince, when we were children, you never won when we played the game of hiding things." The crown prince's pupils shrank. He clenched his fingers and coldly looked at Shangguan Yen. He whispered, "Third sister, don't worry. This time, I will never lose." More than a dozen genie guards acted separately and searched the rooms one by one. The monarch, the crown prince, Xiao Heng, Gu Jiao, and Shangguan Yen waited in the hall. Not long after, the genie guards came to the hall to report. "You didn't find it?" The crown prince frowned and asked. Everyone shook their heads. The leader of the genie guard said, "There are still 2 rooms that haven't been searched. One is the room where Xiao Junju is playing. The other is the secret room guarded by the men of sacrifice from the state preceptor palace." The crown prince turned his head to look at Shangguan Yen and the other 2. He keenly found that the 3 people's expressions slightly changed, especially the fake Xiao Lulang. He almost rushed out to stop the genie guards. The crown prince asked the monarch, "Imperial father, please allow me to search." The monarch nodded to the crown prince and turned his head to order a disciple of the state preceptor palace. "Call the state preceptor. I want to search the secret room." Gu Jiao clenched her fist and her arm stiffened. Xiao Heng held her wrist to comfort her. All of this was keenly seen by the crown prince. When the state preceptor arrived at the Qilin Hall, the room where Xiao Junju and little Jingkong were in had been searched by the genie guards. They found nothing. The crown prince said politely, "State preceptor, please allow the people of the crown prince palace to search your secret room." The state preceptor said, "That secret room is guarded by men of sacrifice. No assassin can easily break in. What if they have something to do and left, or were led away by someone? State preceptor, can you guarantee that absolutely no such thing will happen?" The crown prince did not suspect that the state preceptor would deliberately cover up. The state preceptor was also involved in the death of the Xinyuan family. He and the crown princess were enemies. The crown princess could recuperate in the state preceptor palace because of the monarch. How could he help her hide people? This. The state preceptor glanced at Gu Jiao and said to the crown prince, "Does the crown prince not trust the men of sacrifice of the state preceptor palace? I can assure you that there is no one hiding in the secret room." The crown prince smiled. "State preceptor has repeatedly obstructed us. Is there anything in this secret room that we can't see?" The state preceptor opened his mouth. The monarch said impatiently, "Okay, stop arguing. State preceptor, tell your people to get out of the way." The state preceptor looked at Gu Jiao secretly. Gu Jiao clenched her small fist tightly. It was just that the monarch had issued a decree. Even if he was the state preceptor, he could not disobey the emperor's will. He said to the two men of sacrifice, "You can leave." The men of sacrifice retreated to the side. The state preceptor said again, "Yi Qing, Yui, you go open the door." "Yes." The two men cupped their hands and answered. The crown prince frowned and winked at the leader of the genie guards. "In a while, when the door opens, remember to rush in and kill Gu Changqing." The leader of the genie guards understood. "Your Highness, rest assured, this little one will not use a knife. This little one will use internal force to shatter his heart meridian." Yi Qing took the key from the two men of sacrifice and brought he to the door. When he went to open the bronze lock, he found a drop of half-dried blood under the bronze lock. "Someone has been here." Yi Qing wanted to ask the two men of sacrifice, "Did you leave just now?" The words were swallowed back to his lips. He did not say anything. He inserted the key into the keyhole and turned it in a big circle. When he took down the bronze lock, he deliberately touched the iron door. "Is it so slow to open a door?" the crown prince lightly asked. Yi Qing retorted, "The door is very heavy. How about your Highness open it yourself?" The crown prince humphed. Yi Qing and Yui worked together to open the heavy iron door. Yui's skills were not deep, and Yi Qing used less strength, so the door opened slowly. But no matter how slow it was still completely pushed open. When the empty room completely appeared in front of everyone, Gu Changqing's figure could no longer hide. "It's you?" Yui blurted out. He did not expect that there was someone inside, and it was someone he knew. Yi Qing also recognized Gu Changqing's face, but his temperament was calmer than Yui's, so he was not surprised. The leader of the genie guards next to the crown prince was about to rush in and kill him, but was stopped by the crown prince. The crown prince was a very smart person. If he remembered correctly, he had never seen Long Outyin. But why did he look like he saw an acquaintance? He looked back at Shang Guanyan and the other two. Shang Guanyan and Xiao Heng were very nervous. It seemed that there was a good show to watch. Killing Long Outyin was the first choice, but it was not the best choice. If he could prove that Long Outyin and Shang Guanyan colluded, then his harvest would be too big. "This little master is called Yu He. Do you know this person?" the crown prince gently asked Yu He. Yi Qing closed his eyes with a headache. How could he not see that his master wanted to protect Xiao Lulang? Yu He, this idiot, let his master's painstaking efforts go to waste. Yui also felt the powerful aura of his senior apprentice brother, and was scared to speak. The king said, "You just say it. Do you know this person?" Yui bowed his head. State preceptor. The king looked at the state preceptor. The state preceptor said, "Tell the truth." Yui got his master's approval, then whispered, "He is a friend of the emperor's grandson and young master Xiao. He came to the state preceptor hall several times." The crown prince asked again, "When was the first time he came?" He said the date. The crown prince laughed. "This person came to my house the next day and said he wanted to rely on me. Pang Hai of the underground martial arts arena can testify." Third sister. Third sister. So he was a spy you placed beside me. Gu Jiao bravely stepped forward. "This matter has nothing to do with the former crown princess and the emperor's grandson. He and I are both from the Zhao kingdom. Just when His Majesty ordered me to enter the palace to save the crown princess, I encountered a wave of assassination. Coincidentally, young Master Gu arrived in time and saw injustice on the road. Later, he learned that we are from the same hometown, so I became friends with young Master Gu. I don't know about him going to the Crown Prince's palace as an advisor. After that, he did come to the State Preceptor Hall several times, but we are just friends from the same hometown. Crown Prince, I'll be a fool if I believe you. The Crown Prince wanted to say Xiao Lulang, so that's how you got your position as the commander. It's because Long Outyen secretly helped you cheat. But the Crown Prince finally restrained himself. Because even if Long Outyen was a spy sent by Shang Guanyin, it was his idea to let Long Outyen replace the Han family to participate in the selection. He was the one who broke the rules. Forget it, this is a small matter. As long as it can be proven that Long Outyen really did have a relationship with Shang Guanyin, then Shang Guanyin can't escape the crime of murdering the Crown Prince. The Crown Prince sneered at Gu Jiao. Don't take everything on yourself just because you are close to the Emperor's grandson. Do you know what crime this person has committed? He tried to assassinate the Crown Prince of Great Yen, which is a capital crime. The mastermind behind him also can't escape the heavy responsibility. Gu Chongqing looked at the Crown Prince with a dignified expression. I didn't try to assassinate you. The Crown Prince said, don't pretend. Do you dare to let someone check your injuries? Gu Chongqing took a step back. I'm not injured. The Crown Prince sneered. You'll know if you're injured or not. After that, he turned around and bowed to the king. Father, this person was stabbed by a guard in my palace with a sword. The wound is on the right side of his chest. The king looked at Gu Chongqing deeply and raised his finger. The Crown Prince was happy and said, check the wound. The leader of the genie guards stepped forward. Gu Chongqing tried to resist, but he was mercilessly held down by the leader. The Crown Prince thought, you were stabbed by teacher. Do you think you still have the strength to resist? The leader of the genie guards pulled Gu Chongqing's lapel, but when he pulled his coat, a secret letter fell out. Gu Chongqing quickly stepped on it. The leader of the genie guards was one step ahead of him and picked up the secret letter. The leader of the genie guards opened the secret letter, took out the map and looked at it. His face suddenly changed color. The map of the Crown Prince's palace, the map of the Han family's military camp. Well done, Long Aotian. You actually stole so many secret things from my hands. But you stole it really well. You never expected that I would find them on the spot. The Crown Prince only wanted to laugh 3 times. Originally, it was not easy to prove that Long Outyen and Shang Guanyin colluded. But now, with the irrefutable evidence, even if he didn't say anything, his father wouldn't believe that Shang Guanyin was innocent, right? After all, besides Shang Guanyin, who else would deliberately deal with the Crown Prince's palace? Father. The Crown Prince emotionally looked at the king. The king's eyes fell on Shang Guanyin's lowered eyebrows. What else do you have to say? Shang Guanyin lightly said, I don't anyway, you never believe me. The king flew into a rage out of shame. Did you do it? I want you to say it. Gu Chongqing quickly said, no. It's not the Crown Princess. It's my own idea. Everything has nothing to do with the Crown Princess. Your Majesty, if you want to punish someone, punish me alone. I am willing to bear all the blame. The king ignored Gu Chongqing and looked at Shang Guanyin sternly. So it's really you? Shang Guanyin turned her face away. The king's anger filled his chest. Shang Guanyin, you let me down. Gu Chongqing anxiously said, Your Majesty, it really has nothing to do with the Crown Princess. It's all my fault. The Crown Princess didn't know. The Crown Prince chuckled. You're about to die, but you still want to exonerate her. You're really loyal to my third sister. The king didn't want to see this spy again. Take him away. Execute him. Wait. Xiao Heng said. The king angrily looked at Xiao Heng. This matter has nothing to do with you. Don't blindly meddle. Xiao Heng's tone was calm. Imperial grandfather, I just have a doubt. Didn't His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince, clamor to check his injuries? Why didn't he continue after dropping this secret letter? As soon as these words came out, everyone was stunned. It seems that they forgot to continue the examination. The main thing was that the evidence was irrefutable, plus Gu Chongqing himself indirectly admitted it, so it didn't matter whether they checked it or not. Xiao Heng walked step by step toward Gu Chongqing. Gu Chongqing's body dodged backward. Xiao Heng stretched out his hand, and Gu Chongqing violently broke free from the two embroidered uniform guards and hit Xiao Heng with his palm. Gu Jiao pulled Xiao Heng away with one hand and grabbed Gu Chongqing's lapel with the other, pulling it to the bottom. Gu Chongqing's bandaged chest was exposed. Gu Jiao didn't show any mercy and removed the blood-stained gauze as well. However, there was no wound on his skin. The blood on the gauze was fake. The crown prince was stunned. Wait, how could this be? Where's his injury? Xiao Heng had an expression of sudden realization. He turned his gaze to the crown prince and said bitterly, "Uncle Crown Prince, you really put on a good show. If I hadn't noticed that something was wrong in time, I'm afraid you really would have been able to get away with it. You really put in a lot of effort to frame my mother." I didn't. The crown prince was completely stunned. He couldn't figure out what had happened. Where did Long Outyen's injury go? It couldn't be a different person. It was impossible. They had searched the state preceptor's hall, and there was no hiding place. What's more, this person looked exactly the same as Long Outyen. Even his voice was the same. How could it be a different person? Just as the crown prince's thoughts were running fast, Gu Chongqing suddenly came to the door. Using his internal force, he slammed the iron door shut. The state preceptor, Yi Qing, Yu He, and the others were all locked outside. In the secret room, only the king, Shang Guanyan, Xiao Heng, Gu Jiao, Gu Chongqing, the crown prince, and the leader of the embroidered uniform guards were left. What are you going to do? The crown prince looked at Gu Chongqing vigilantly. Gu Chongqing evilly hooked up his lips. Master, don't you see it? This rotten old man doesn't have you in his heart. The person he loves the most has always been Shang Guanyan. Shang Guanyan used self-injury to frame you in the palace. Didn't he see the clues? But he still wants to side with her. He wants to protect her. Today, the plan was exposed. With this rotten old man's endless bias, you won't be easily forgiven. Since that's the case, you might as well go all the way. Kill all of them. Then put the blame on Shang Guanyan's head. Xiao Heng seamlessly connected, not giving the crown prince a chance to speak. You're crazy. Do you want to kill the emperor? No. Unfortunately, Gu Chongqing didn't give him a chance to interrupt. So what? Take this. Gu Chongqing pulled out his long sword and stabbed at the king. The king was still immersed in the anger of that rotten old man. This bastard actually called him a rotten old man. The long sword stabbed into the king's body. The king was shocked. However, the pain he imagined didn't come. Shang Guanyan rushed over and blocked the sword for the king. Gu Jiao kicked Gu Chongqing away. The long sword was also pulled out from Shang Guanyan's body. Blood splattered everywhere, mercilessly splashing on the king's face. The king's whole body froze. He almost instinctively hugged Shang Guanyan, who fell in his arms. Shang Guanyan coughed up blood. The monarch crouched down with her in his arms and used his hand to cover her wound. She had been pierced through, and blood was gushing out of her back and chest. She could not stop it no matter how hard she tried. The king, who was calm, began to unconsciously panic. He hadn't called this name for more than 10 years. Shang Guanyan looked at him with her dying breath. Tears welled up in her eyes. I didn't want to block the sword for you. I haven't forgiven you, but you are my father. I have no mother. I can't no father. The king's heart suddenly clenched into a ball and was in severe pain. Shang Guanyan's body temperature was rapidly decreasing. Her tears and blood flowed down together. I hate you. Hate that you always don't believe me. I waited for you in the imperial tomb for so many years. You never came to see me. I hate you, hate you. She cried sadly in the pool of blood. Most of the things in the world are only cherished when they are lost. The king had never felt Shang Guanyan's death so clearly. He suddenly realized that he was losing her, losing his only flesh and blood with Xianyuan Hanyan. All the unpleasant memories of the past disappeared, and the only thing left in his mind was Shangguan Yan's goodness. He hugged Shangguan Yan in his arms. His throat couldn't help but swell with pain. I thought you hated me and didn't want to see me. On this side, the father and daughter were separated by life and death. On the other side, Gu Jiao and Gu Chongqing were inseparable. The crown prince was dumbfounded. One after another, he was dumbfounded. Reason told him that it was fake, but everything was too real. Gu Jiao kicked Gu Chongqing again and sent him flying into the wall. Gu Chongqing was stuck on the wall for 3 seconds before he fell down. Gu Chongqing, or to be exact, Gu Chengfeng, covered his chest and madly cursed in his heart. No way, smelly girl, it's just acting. Do you have to be so realistic? Gu Jiao, humph, I'm very dedicated. Digression. Today, I updated 10,000 words. Claw Claw is almost broken. I need a ticket to continue writing. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with connotations that can't be found on the internet are all available here. https://www.zhbqg.com/8964-_89642826/106472825. HTML Genius will remember this site's address in a second. www.zhbqg.com Biku Go mobile version reading website. zhbqg.com. You're tuning in to the Echo Reads YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.